Chapter 1087. In the Blood Crystal World, everything was like the beginning of human civilization. There wasn't the current situation where the various forces were segregated, and there wasn't an overlord who ruled over a part of the world. Here, everything was based on tribes. The so-called tribe was, in fact, a race. Every tribe was different in size. For example, a village-level tribe like Sunny Creek Village was not the smallest. Some tribes only had a few dozen people, or even a few people. Of course, in the Blood Crystal World, the large tribes were not inferior to the super forces in the God realm. Their numbers were even higher. Those large tribes had developed over a long period of time, swallowing other tribes, and finally forming their current size. The bigger the tribe, the more power the higher-ups in the tribe had. Therefore, these higher-ups constantly pursued greater power and swallowed other tribes to strengthen their own tribe. As for High Sun Village, it was not considered a tribe. However, it was much stronger than Sunny Creek Village. They had been eyeing Sunny Creek Village for a long time. However, the warriors of Sunny Creek Village were not vegetarians. They were strong and had repelled High Sun Village's attacks several times. However, High Sun Village had not given up on Sunny Creek Village. Now they were attacking again. Hearing the vulgar young man's words, the men of Sunny Creek Village were furious. Gu Kai, in particular, was furious. If Yen Lai had not held him down, he would have pounced on them. Mi Yang did not say anything. He only glanced at the vulgar young man, took a few steps forward, and looked at Gu Kai and the others indifferently. Finally, his gaze stopped on Murongyu. "This little bastard is the helper you found? He doesn't look bad. However, if you don't submit today, all of you will die." Murongyu's eyes flashed with a cold, killing intent. However, he did not make a move. He wanted to see what these people would do next. "Big Brother Yen, let me kill these bastards!" Gu Kai roared, his eyes spitting fire. Obviously, he did not like Mi Yang and the others. "You are not his match." Yen Lai held Gu Kai down and looked at Mi Yang with a gloomy face. "Impossible. I almost killed him last time. Today, I can still defeat and even kill him." Gu Kai roared. "His fleshly body has already reached the level of a supreme-grade divine artifact. In our area, no one is his match." Yen Lai's eyes flickered as he finally spoke. Hearing this, everyone in Sunny Creek Village couldn't help but gasp. In Sunny Creek Village, Yen Lai and Gu Kai were their strongest warriors. Their bodies had reached the level of a high-grade divine artifact. A body at the level of a high-grade divine artifact would be considered a powerhouse in this area. He was even stronger than the strongest warrior of Gaoyang Village, Mi Yang. It was because of this that they were able to repel High Sun Village's attacks time and time again. However, Mi Yang's body had reached the level of a supreme-grade god artifact. Low-grade, middle-grade, high-grade, supreme-grade, peerless-grade, saint-grade. This was the division of realms in the Blood Crystal World. Unlike the 10 realms in the Divine World, the Blood Crystal World only had 6 realms. In an ordinary tribe, those who could reach the upper stage were already considered strong. Those who reached the level of a supreme grade were considered experts in the Blood Crystal World. Those who reached the level of a supreme grade were treated with the utmost respect in the super tribes. They were at the level of an ancestor. As for the saint grade, it was the strongest realm in the Blood Crystal World. According to legends, there was no one at this level in the entire Blood Crystal World. It was easy to imagine how rare and powerful such existences were. Similarly, the tribes in the Blood Crystal World were also divided into 6 levels. They were respectively low-grade, middle-grade, and high-grade. It was the same division as their realms. The level of a tribe depended on the level of a powerhouse who was in charge of the tribe and was recognized by the nearby tribes. For example, Sunny Creek Village had Yen Lai and Gu Kai, 2 high-grade powerhouses. Their strength was recognized by the nearby tribes. Therefore, although Sunny Creek Village wasn't big, it was still an upper-grade tribe. Gaoyang Village was much bigger than Sunny Creek Village. However, it was only an upper-grade tribe. However, now that Mi Yang had broken through to the level of a supreme grade, with his strength, he could lead the warriors of Gaoyang Village to sweep the nearby area. By then, all the low-grade, middle-grade, and high-grade tribes in the nearby area would be conquered by him. By then, even if no one recognized him, Gaoyang Village would become a supreme-grade tribe and develop. It was obvious that Sunny Creek Village was Mi Yang's first target after breaking through. Ha ha! Our number 1 warrior of Gaoyang Village broke through to the level of a supreme grade a few days ago. Kids of Sunny Creek Village, hurry up and submit. Otherwise, after today, you will no longer exist and will all be wiped out. One of the warriors of Gaoyang Village laughed loudly. No wonder Mi Yang only brought so few people this time. With his strength, defeating Sunny Creek Village was more than enough. The faces of the people of Sunny Creek Village were extremely gloomy and murderous. Sunny Creek Village will never submit to Gaoyang Village. We will fight to the death. Gu Kai roared and looked at Mi Yang ferociously. If that's the case, then I'll experience the strength of warrior Gu Kai. Mi Yang walked over slowly and looked at Gu Kai with disdain. Big brother Yen, let me go. I want to kill this son of a bitch. Gu Kai obviously didn't like Mi Yang. Yen Lai sighed and let go in the end. The people of Sunny Creek Village would rather die than submit. Dying in battle was the best ending for them. I'll let you have 3 moves. Seeing Gu Kai walk over with murderous intent, Mi Yang said indifferently. He didn't put Gu Kai in his eyes at all. Gu Kai was enraged. He stomped the ground with his foot and charged at Mi Yang with all his might. His right hand's divine fist exploded with a dazzling divine light and fiercely smashed towards Mi Yang's head. Mi Yang sneered in disdain, and with a sliding step, he retreated. He directly dodged Gu Kai's attack, causing it to hit the air. A powerful force suddenly erupted, causing the air to explode, making a glaring explosion sound. After missing his punch, Gu Kai roared and charged forward again. However, the gap between the two was huge. Mi Yang didn't fight back at all and dodged Gu Kai's attack in the blink of an eye. Murong Yu, on the other hand, couldn't stop frowning as he watched. Gu Kai and Mi Yang's attacks were too shallow, just relying on the power of their bodies. They didn't know how to use their cultivation. They didn't even have any exquisite moves. If it was Murong Yu, even if his realm was lower than Mi Yang's, Mi Yang definitely wouldn't be able to dodge his attack. These people all have powerful bodies. Maybe it's because they are restricted by this world, but their cultivation realm can't increase. But with their physical strength, once they leave this world and appear in the God realm, their strength will definitely increase rapidly. A powerful body and a powerful realm, this will be an extremely terrifying battle power. Murong Yu thought in his heart. At this time, the 3 moves had already passed. It's my turn. Mi Yang roared. He stomped on the ground, creating an incomparably huge crater. His whole body flew over like an eagle pouncing on its prey, crashing straight towards Gu Kai. At the same time, he punched out towards Gu Kai's head. The speed was so fast that even the air was blown apart. Gu Kai roared again and again, condensing all his strength into his fists, and then punched out with a force that could destroy the sky. Boom! The fists of both sides collided fiercely in the void, erupting with an earth-shattering boom. Mi Yang flipped his body and landed easily. On the other hand, Gu Kai let out a blood-curdling scream as he was sent flying by a huge force. During this process, the crisp sound of bones breaking could be heard. Murong Yu looked over and saw that Gu Kai's hands were broken inch by inch. Die! After Mi Yang landed, he roared. His body turned into a phantom as he pounced towards Gu Kai, wanting to kill him in one fell swoop. Yen Lai snorted coldly, and with a flash of his body, he pounced forward. Bang! However, he was only in the upper realm, and the gap between him and Mi Yang, who was in the upper realm, was too big. With one move, He ended up in the same state as Gu Kai. His hands were broken, and his whole body was sent flying. However, he also succeeded in stopping Mi Yang's attack. However, the two strongest warriors of Creek village were heavily injured by Mi Yang in one move, and the others were even less of a match for Mi Yang. At this moment, Mi Yang was not injured at all. "You overestimate yourself." Mi Yang sneered and stepped forward with a murderous aura. Swish! The men of Creek village immediately rushed up and blocked in front of Gu Kai and Yen Lai, glaring at Mi Yang. "I've suddenly changed my mind. Wouldn't it be a pity to kill so many people? We should take you all as slaves. Serve our High Sun village for the rest of your lives." Mi Yang laughed. "Warriors of Creek village, we'd rather die than submit." Gu Kai roared. "Rather die than submit? Then I'll kill you first." Mi Yang released a terrifying murderous aura as he walked towards Gu Kai step by step. From the beginning to the end, Morongyu had no intention of making a move. He just looked on calmly as if he was an outsider. After all, he was an outsider. However, at this moment, he was ready to make a move. It was obvious that Gu Kai and the others were good people, but Mi Yang was definitely not. Morongyu could even feel his surging ambition, not to mention the black light radiating from his body that soared to the heavens. However, just as he was about to make a move, he stopped in his tracks. Blood crystals. Morongyu looked at Gu Kai in surprise. At this moment, Gu Kai had already used a large amount of divine power to restore his broken hands and arms to their peak. At the same time, he grabbed a large handful of blood crystals and stuffed them into his mouth under Morongyu's surprised gaze. "What's going on?" Morongyu's mind was a little confused. Chapter 1088. For a pinky-sized blood crystal, experts at the level of quasi-saint would fight to the death. Yet, Gu Kai was stuffing a bunch of blood crystals into his mouth? What was going on? Morongyu clearly saw Gu Kai stuffing at least a dozen blood crystals into his mouth. That was more than a dozen blood crystals. Yet, Gu Kai was eating them like vegetables? Could it be that this world produced a large number of blood crystals? While Morongyu was still in shock, the villagers of Sunny Creek village were already crying out in alarm. "Gu Kai, do you want to die? How could you swallow blood crystals like that? Once the power of the blood crystals erupts, your entire body will explode. Even if you successfully suppress the power of the blood crystals, you will still be invaded by the terrifying murderous aura and eventually become a demon that only knows how to kill." Yenlai looked at Gu Kai with a face full of shock and anger. Gu Kai slowly opened his eyes and looked at Mi Yang with a ferocious expression. "I have to break through, or our Sunny Creek village will be destroyed. Even if I become a demon, I will protect Sunny Creek village." The people of Sunny Creek village were deeply moved. However, they felt more pain than anything else. If it wasn't for Mi Yang, how could they be like this? How could Gu Kai swallow so many blood crystals without caring about his life? Whoosh! For a moment, everyone in Sunny Creek village focused their gazes on Mi Yang with hatred, anger, and murderous intent. In response, Mi Yang revealed a smile on his face, as if he was enjoying the attention. "Idiot, if it was so easy to break through, then we would be full of peak divine heavenly sovereigns here. No matter how many blood crystals you swallow, you are destined to fail. In order to reduce your pain, I have decided to send you on your way personally." As he spoke, Mi Yang continued walking towards Gu Kai. At this moment, Gu Kai's entire body was enveloped by an intense blood-red divine light, perhaps due to the eruption of the blood crystal's power. A tyrannical, murderous aura, filled with the smell of blood, erupted from his body. Gu Kai's entire body was like a swollen ball as it began to swell rapidly. The clothes on his body were instantly torn apart and shattered into countless pieces. Ferocious veins also appeared, wriggling rapidly. It was a terrifying sight. In fact, Morongyu even saw Gu Kai's eyes turn blood-red in the blink of an eye. Guard. Yen Lai, who had already recovered his broken arm, roared and charged towards Mi Yang. The other warriors of Sunny Creek Village also held their weapons and stood in front of Gu Kai. "You overestimate yourself," Mi Yang sneered as he strode forward and punched Yen Lai. Boom! Yen Lai was simply no match for Mi Yang, and was sent flying with a single move. This time, his entire chest collapsed of his chest. "It's terrifying." Seeing this, the other warriors of Sunny Creek Village roared and charged forward. However, those of the warriors of the ground level of the Sunny Creek Village. "Who? Oh, phone!" At this time, the other men of Sunny Creek Village had all been sent flying by Mi Yang. Even Yen Lai and Gu Kai, who were of the upper stage, couldn't withstand a single move from him, let alone the lower and middle stage. "In the end, you still don't have the chance to break through to the extreme stage," Mi Yang sneered as he punched towards Mi Yang. Murong Yu, who hadn't made a move until now, finally moved. His figure flashed, and he arrived in front of Gu Kai in a single step. At the same time, he stretched out his hand and grabbed Mi Yang's hand. Instantly, Mi Yang's large hand felt like it was being clamped by a red-hot iron pincer, burning painfully. Most importantly, he couldn't move his arm at all. Mi Yang was shocked, and he struggled with all his might. However, Murong Yu's hand was like a sacred mountain standing between heaven and earth, unmoving. Fear appeared in Mi Yang's eyes, and he quickly punched towards Murong Yu's head with his other hand. However, at this time, Mi Yang suddenly felt a powerful force surging into his hand that was grabbed by Murong Yu. Suddenly, he felt his whole body go limp. His fist also became weak and powerless, and he couldn't help but stop halfway through his attack. "Didn't you say that Gu Kai couldn't break through? Why didn't you wait for the result before making a move? Or are you afraid? Afraid that after Gu Kai breaks through, you won't be his opponent anymore?" Murong Yu looked at the frightened Mi Yang with a faint smile. Everyone who saw this scene, regardless of whether they were from Xiang Village or Gaoyang Village, was shocked. They didn't know that Mi Yang had been restrained by Murong Yu. However, they saw that Mi Yang couldn't break free from Murong Yu's grip. Who was Murong Yu? How could he be so strong? Even Mi Yang, who was in the Supreme Realm, couldn't withstand a single move from him? For a moment, everyone was shocked. However, the people of Sunny Creek Village showed a glimmer of hope. However, Yen Lai, who was one of the two great warriors of Sunny Creek Village, was sweating profusely. Not long ago, he had chased Murong Yu away. If Murong Yu had made a move at that time, he would have been dead by now. "Ha ha ha, why would I be afraid of this trash?" After the shock, Mi Yang laughed out loud. However, everyone could hear that he was strong on the outside but weak on the inside. "If that's the case, then scram to the side and wait," Murong Yu said indifferently. He hated trash like this the most. Immediately, he swung his hand and threw Mi Yang away. Plop! Mi Yang fell to the ground in a dog-eat-dog posture. Although he quickly got up, it was already seen by everyone. It was very embarrassing. The people of High Sun Village were anxious. They didn't know if Murong Yu, a powerhouse, would interfere in the matter between their two tribes. If he wanted to interfere, none of them would be spared today. Thinking of this, some of them were already thinking of retreating. However, just as they were about to sneak away, Murong Yu looked at them with a smile that wasn't a smile. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Then, their legs felt as heavy as Mount Tai, as if they were filled with lead. They couldn't move. Everyone was terrified. Fortunately, Murong Yu didn't make a move. At this moment, Gu Kai's entire body was covered in a blood-red light. With the naked eye, they could see him under the light. Therefore, no one knew what he looked like now. However, everyone could feel that his aura was constantly increasing. Whoosh! At this moment, Murong Yu saw Gu Kai flip his hand. Then, more than 10 blood crystals were swallowed by him. What a waste! Murong Yu was so angry that he wanted to slap Gu Kai to death. With so many blood crystals, he could at least advance by a large realm and become an immemorial god. However, This guy didn't have any effect at all. However, Morong Yu was curious, could 20 to 30 blood crystals, the size of a pinky, raise a high-grade god artifact level body to a supreme-grade god artifact level body? If it was possible, the blood crystals were too heaven-defying. One had to know that Morong Yu took thousands or tens of thousands of years to break through from a high-grade god artifact level body to a supreme-grade god artifact level body. Moreover, it was in the secret zone. While Morong Yu was lost in thought, a loud noise suddenly rang out from Gu Kai's body. Then, the blood-red light that was originally condensed on the surface of his body was absorbed by his body. Then Gu Kai stood up. Morong Yu's pupils abruptly shrank. A supreme-grade god artifact level body. Could 20 to 30 blood crystals really raise Gu Kai's body from a high-grade god artifact level to a supreme-grade god artifact level? While Morong Yu was shocked, the others were also shocked. It was common knowledge in the blood crystal world that blood crystals could raise their physical realm. However, everyone knew that the blood crystal contained an enormous amount of power and killing intent. They could only slowly absorb the power of one blood crystal for a long time. That was because while absorbing the power of the blood crystal, they had to slowly expel the killing intent contained in the blood crystal. Therefore, no matter how powerful they could only swallow one blood crystal at a time. They could only continue to swallow after absorbing all the power of the blood crystal. Otherwise, this world would be filled with divine heavenly sovereigns. However, there weren't many supreme-grade experts. Supreme-grade experts were even rarer, and divine-grade experts were almost non-existent. Gu Kai was taking too much of a risk. If he wasn't careful, he would explode from the power of the blood crystal and be attacked by the killing intent. Even if he didn't die, he would become a demon that only knew how to kill. Normally, those who forcefully broke through like Gu Kai would definitely die. The reason why Gu Kai succeeded was because of his temperament and his mission to protect Sunny Creek Village. Due to all these reasons, he overcame everything and successfully broke through. Mi Yang die. After feeling his powerful strength, Gu Kai roared and pounced on Mi Yang. Mi Yang glanced at Morong Yu. After seeing that he had no intention of interfering, he rushed up to fight with Gu Kai. Although they were both supreme-grade experts, Gu Kai, who had just broken through, clearly hadn't fully grasped his new power. Therefore, his strength was still inferior to Mi Yang. However, although he was at a disadvantage in strength, there was a ruthlessness in his heart. It was this ruthlessness that allowed him to be on par with Mi Yang in the fight. The people of Sunny Creek Village and High Sun Village watched the battle between the two intently. It seemed to be very exciting. Morong Yu, on the other hand, was starting to feel sleepy. The battle between the two was like a hooligan in the mortal world. There was no order and there were no moves to speak of. They relied entirely on their own brute force to win. Not only was this kind of battle a waste of energy, but even if they won, they would also be injured. Unless it was like how Mi Yang dealt with Yen Lai and the others who were at a lower realm and sent them flying with a punch. Chapter 1089. Bang. After the two fought for a long time, Gu Kai, who had just broken through, gradually grasped his new power. However, he was still no match for Mi Yang and was sent flying with a punch. This was not the first time he was sent flying. In fact, both of them were in a very sorry state, with different degrees of injuries on their bodies. However, Gu Kai's injuries were obviously much worse. This time, after being sent flying by Mi Yang's punch, he could only lie on the ground and vomit blood, unable to even stand up. He no longer had the strength to fight. While they were fighting, Gu Kai was sent flying several times by Mi Yang. However, Morong Yu did not make a move, so Mi Yang thought that Morong Yu would not intervene in the matters of Sunny Creek Village. Thus, after he heavily injured Gu Kai this time, he charged towards Gu Kai with a savage grin on his face, intending to kill Gu Kai. Everyone in Sunny Creek Village could feel the intense aura emanating from Mi Yang. They all knew that Mi Yang would never let Gu Kai go. Once Gu Kai was killed, it would be their turn. Even if Mi Yang did not kill them, they would become slaves. Gu Kai was incomparably furious in his heart and struggled to get up. However, he did not even have the ability to get up. He could only let out a low growl in his throat. "Senior, please save our Sunny Creek village." Just as Mi Yang was approaching Gu Kai with a sinister smile, Yen Lai rushed to Murong Yu despite his serious injuries. Then, with a plop, he knelt down and kowtowed to Murong Yu. "Senior, please save us." Countless people immediately reacted and knelt down, kowtowing to Murong Yu. Even the women and children in the village ran out and knelt in front of Murong Yu. Mi Yang stopped and turned to look at Murong Yu with a gloomy expression. He did not dare to kill Gu Kai now, nor did he dare to stop the people of Sunny Creek Village. This was because he knew how terrifying Murong Yu was. If Murong Yu were to save him, he would die without a doubt. Even the entire High Sun Village would be wiped out. "We can save him now, but not forever." Murong Yu shook his head. Even if he saved her this time, what about in the future? In the end, he had to leave this place. Even if he killed Mi Yang, there wasn't just one Mi Yang in this world. If Shiyang Village didn't become strong, they would always be in this predicament. Therefore, they had to save themselves. This was the only way they could survive in this world. It was not just the blood crystal world. It was the same in every world. The strong preyed on the weak, and the fist was the truth. However, Murong Yu still had to make a move. Immediately, he said calmly, "Mi Yang, leave with your people. I will stay in Xiang Village for a while." "Yes, we'll leave this way." Mi Yang didn't dare to object, and immediately left with the people of High Sun Village. "Brother Mi Yang, are we really going to let Sunny Creek Village go? If we can't even conquer a small village like Sunny Creek Village, how are we going to conquer other tribes? How are we going to conquer the whole world?" On the way, the wretched young man said unwillingly, "Are you a match for that person? If you can defeat him, Sunny Creek Village will naturally be conquered by us." The people of High Sun Village fell silent. That powerhouse isn't from Sunny Creek Village, so he will leave eventually. The day he leaves will be the day we conquer Sunny Creek Village. Mi Yang said calmly with a cold gleam in his eyes. The only person he was worried about was Murong Yu. "Thank you for saving our lives, Senior." Yen Lai was overjoyed when he saw Murong Yu ordering Mi Yang and the others to leave. He quickly kowtowed to Murong Yu. Murong Yu had saved the entire Sunny Creek Village, so he deserved to kowtow to express his gratitude. "Get up." Murong Yu was not used to seeing the others kowtow to express their gratitude. Gu Kai's injuries are very serious. If he isn't treated in time, his realm might fall to the upper stage. Once his realm falls, it will be impossible for him to raise his realm again in this lifetime. "Is there a godly doctor in your village?" "Our village chief's medical skills are quite good. After we were injured, he was the one who treated us. However, it's a pity that the old village chief hasn't returned yet." Yen Lai said to Murong Yu as he carried Gu Kai and ran towards Sunny Creek Village. Murong Yu finally came to a realization. He had always felt that Sunny Creek Village was missing something. It turned out that there was no village chief. "Brother Yen, Gu Kai's injuries are so serious. What should we do? Should we go to the other tribes and ask for a godly doctor? I'm afraid Gu Kai won't be able to hold on." A warrior from Sunny Creek Village said to Yen Lai with a worried expression. "The tribes near us definitely won't be able to. With Mi Yang's character, he will definitely threaten those tribes. Those people won't dare to go against Mi Yang, so they won't treat Gu Kai. If we go to other places, I'm afraid there won't be enough time. Besides, we can't afford Ong Fei's treatment fee," Yen Lai said with a frown. He was very unhappy. "Brother Yen, Dr. Situ of the Green Sun tribe is well known and extremely cheap. Why don't we ask her to treat Gu Kai?" Another warrior said. "Dr. Situ is indeed good. But we're too far away from the Green Sun tribe. Even if we reach the Green Sun tribe, whether Dr. Situ can stay in the tribe is still a problem. Then what should we do? Could it be that we can only watch as Gu Kai is crippled? A warrior said angrily. Murong Yu rolled his eyes. A great godly doctor like him was standing here, but these people didn't see him. He couldn't help but feel a little speechless. Immediately he said, I can treat Gu Kai's injuries. Senior, please save Gu Kai. We, the warriors of Sunny Creek Village, will never forget your great kindness. As long as you can cure Gu Kai, just tell us what you need. We'll definitely satisfy you if you need a holy weapon or something like that. In an instant, the crowd was like a drowning man who had grasped at a life-saving straw. They begged without a care in the world. Holy weapon? Murong Yu was shocked. There were still holy weapons in this world? However, holy weapons were of no use to Murong Yu. The most important thing to him now was the blood crystals. He had already saved Sunny Creek Village. If he saved Gu Kai now, it shouldn't be a problem to ask them for blood crystals, right? When he saw Gu Kai eating blood crystals by the handful, Murong Yu consciously thought that there were plenty of blood crystals here. Murong Yu walked to Gu Kai's side and shook his head as he looked at the feeble Gu Kai lying on the bed. Although Gu Kai's physical body had broken through, he was now crippled. Even a godly doctor like Old Man Pei might not be able to cure him. Even if he was cured, Gu Kai probably wouldn't be able to break through in the future. Cough. Thank you, Senior. Gu Kai coughed up blood and struggled to get up to thank Murong Yu. However, Yen Lai forcefully pressed him down. Senior, should we leave? Yen Lai looked at Murong Yu. He knew that some godly doctors didn't want others to be around when they were treating patients. After all, they always had special methods that they didn't want a third party to see. There's no need, Murong Yu said calmly and reached out to grab Gu Kai's hand. At the same time, the life force rushed into Gu Kai's hand like a flood and quickly flowed through his body. Gu Kai's hand had been broken inch by inch, but Yen Lai and the others saw that the wound on Gu Kai's hand was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a few breaths' time, Gu Kai's broken arm had recovered to its original state. At the same time, more than half of his ghastly body, which was riddled with wounds, had been healed. In an instant, everyone except Murong Yu was shocked. Yen Lai and the others were speechless when they saw the wounds healing so quickly. They just looked at Murong Yu in shock. In their hearts, they were wondering who Murong Yu was to have such a terrifying healing ability. Even godly Dr. Situ of the Green Sun tribe is far inferior to this senior, right? Yen Lai and the others suddenly had this thought. As the person involved, Gu Kai was even more shocked. Even after Murong Yu had retracted his hand and removed the life force, he still hadn't reacted. Gu Kai, aren't you going to thank Senior for saving your life? Yen Lai was the first to react and immediately shouted at the stunned Gu Kai. Gu Kai immediately bounced up from the bed and bowed to Murong Yu after landing. Thank you, Senior, for saving my life. My life was given to me by Senior. In the future, if Senior has any errands, I, Gu Kai, will do it. Get up. Murong Yu frowned slightly. He was really not used to others bowing to him. Also, my name is Murong Yu. You can call me by my name, but don't call me Senior in the future. It sounds awkward, Murong Yu said lightly. Mr. Murong, in order to thank you for saving the lives of Xiang Village and Gu Kai, we are holding a banquet for you. It will be held in the evening. I'll go prepare the divine weapon now to thank you for saving our lives. Wait a minute, what divine weapon? The divine weapon of a saint? Murong Yu finally couldn't help but ask. Brother Murong, don't you know about the divine weapon? Gu Kai asked with a silly smile, while the others also showed a touch of doubt. Murong Yu shook his head. To be honest, I'm not from this world. I entered this world by mistake. I don't even know what world this is. Are you the legendary person from the outside world? From the realm of the gods? Yen Lai and the others were shocked. Each of them looked at Murong Yu curiously, as if they wanted to see how different Murong-yu was from them. According to legends, the people from the realm of the gods are extremely powerful. You can see that from Brother Murong. Gu Kai smiled foolishly. Murong-yu smiled helplessly in his heart. If they were in the realm of the gods, many people from the realm of the gods could easily suppress Gu Kai and the others. But in this world, even a quasi-saint would be easily suppressed. After all, for a quasi-saint of the realm of the gods, it was already heaven-defying for their body to reach the level of a low-grade divine weapon. Chapter 1090. Whoosh! A huge saber that was taller than Murong-yu suddenly appeared in Gu Kai's hand. As soon as the saber appeared, Murong-yu felt the air in the room turn cold. A holy artifact. Although the saber's power was not fully unleashed, Murong-yu could still tell its grade at a glance. "This is a holy artifact," Gu Kai said to Murong-yu with a silly smile as he waved the saber in his hand. Murong-yu was a little disappointed. Turned out that the so-called holy artifacts in this world were only holy artifacts. However, he was not very disappointed. After all, he had already guessed so. After all, this was not the holy world. If there really were a large number of holy artifacts, it would be heaven-defying. These holy artifacts are useless to me. Gu Kai, do you have those blood crystals? Murong-yu shook his head and went straight to the point. I only have these. Gu Kai flipped his hand and a dozen blood crystals the size of a pinky appeared in his hand. Then, he handed the blood crystals to Murong-yu without hesitation. You're giving all of these to me? Murong-yu did not take them. Gu Kai nodded and said, although we don't have many blood crystals in Sunny Creek Village, you saved our entire village, and even me. It's not too much to give all of these blood crystals to you. Big Brother Murong, please wait for a moment. I'll be back soon. Before he even finished speaking, Gu Kai had already run out of the room. Yen Lai, can you tell me about this world? Murong-yu looked at Yen Lai and asked. Our world is called Desolate, the Desolate World. It's a vast and boundless world. Legend has it that it's boundless and has no end. The Desolate World. Murong-yu's heart skipped a beat as a thought flashed through his mind. I don't know what the outside world is like. However, in our desolate world, we only have 6 realms. Low grade, middle grade, holy grade. Moreover, we can only cultivate the physical body. As for the strength and cultivation realms, you've seen it too. The highest is our level. However, according to the legends, there are still those with higher realms. After Yen Lai's explanation, Murong-yu finally understood what this desolate world was like. This was a world that specialized in cultivating the fleshly body. There was a huge restriction on the realm of power. The heavenly god realm was already the pinnacle. If it was the heavenly sky realm, perhaps only the legendary divine heavenly experts could reach it. Moreover, Murong-yu also discovered that the lifespan of the people in the desolate world was far inferior to the people of the god world outside. For example, the deities in the outside world had a lifespan of 100 eras, but in the desolate world they only had 50 eras. Of course, the desolate world and the god world were 2 completely different worlds. One could only cultivate the physical body, while the other focused on the cultivation of one's strength. Both of them had their own advantages and disadvantages, and it was impossible to compare which world's people were stronger. In the divine world, most people could easily kill people from the desolate world. In the desolate world, even a 10th-order quasi-saint from the divine world would be killed easily. In the desolate world, even if you reached the peak of the divine heavenly realm, you would also be unable to ascend and become a divine heavenly expert. Hence, ascending and becoming a divine heavenly expert was the same as the outside world to everyone in the desolate world. It was just a legend. Furthermore, in the desolate world, there were extremely few people who could reach the divine heavenly expert. However, this world produced a special substance, blood crystals. It could even be said that the people in the desolate world could raise the realm of their physical body entirely by relying on blood crystals. Without blood crystals, they would not be able to raise their realm at all, because in the desolate world there were extremely few cultivation methods. Furthermore, the heaven and earth essence energy was too thin. If one only absorbed heaven and earth essence energy to cultivate, it was basically impossible to raise to a higher realm. If that was the case, there would probably only be low-grade divine artifact-level fleshly body in the entire desolate world. In other words, as long as there are sufficient blood crystals, one can keep raising their realm? Even straight to the divine heavenly expert? Murong Yu inquired. Yen Lai smiled slightly. If that's the case, no matter how little blood crystals there are in the desolate world, there will also be a large number of divine heavenly expert appearing now. Each of us can absorb the power of the blood crystals to raise our physical body strength. However, everyone has a limit. For example, a person's limit is 10 blood crystals. Then, after absorbing the power of 10 blood crystals, he will not be able to continue absorbing. Even if he swallows the blood crystals, he will be repelled by the blood crystals. Aptitude. Similar to the divine world, aptitude was important. The better the aptitude, the more blood crystals one could swallow. However, there was still a huge difference between the desolate world and the divine world. In the divine world, even if one's aptitude was not good, one could still reach a higher realm if one worked hard to cultivate. However, in the desolate world, there was a lack of heaven and earth essence energy, and one could not swallow the power of the blood crystals. Aptitude completely determined one's achievements. How do you know the limit of a person's absorption of blood crystals? Murong Yu inquired. To the people in the desolate world, the blood crystals might only have one power, which was to raise their physical body strength. However, one should not forget that the blood crystals also had a heaven-defying ability to raise comprehension. Comprehension was equivalent to aptitude in the divine world. As long as one's comprehension was high enough, one could comprehend the deeper level of the cultivation method and cultivate to a higher realm. In fact, to the people in the divine world, the blood crystals were especially precious. Not only could it raise comprehension, but it could also temper the body. It was a rare treasure that could raise both the body and cultivation. If the people in the divine world knew that this world produced blood crystals, they would probably flock over. Of course, it would be impossible for them to snatch the blood crystals. Yen Lai immediately replied, "If one approaches the limit, the blood crystals will start repelling the body. The closer one approaches the limit, the stronger the repelling force. Once one is unable to absorb the blood crystals, that would be the limit. Even if one wanted to forcefully absorb the blood crystals, they would not be able to do so. In the Sunny Creek village, other than Gu Kai and me, everyone else has already reached the limit." Speaking up to here, Yen Lai sighed. If the Sunny Creek village wanted to become stronger, it would not be enough to rely on just him and Gu Kai. After all, this was a war between tribes, not individual heroes. If a tribe wanted to become stronger, there must be a large number of warriors in the tribe. I wonder what my limit is? Murong Yu pondered. If there was no limit, Murong Yu could continuously absorb the power of the blood crystals to raise his comprehension. It was the same for everyone else in the God world, who would be able to raise their level of enlightenment and achieve breakthroughs in cultivation. Big Brother Murong, our Sunny Creek village only has these few blood crystals. Gu Kai walked in with 20 to 30 blood crystals in his large hand. He was somewhat embarrassed. Because they were the two strongest warriors in the Sunny Creek village, the blood crystals of the Sunny Creek village had always been safeguarded by Gu Kai and Yen Lai. The blood crystals that Gu Kai had absorbed before were the majority of the blood crystals in the Sunny Creek village. I only need 10 blood crystals. Murong Yu only took 10 blood crystals. How can this be? Gu Kai glared at him, somewhat unhappy. You saved me and the Sunny Creek village. How can 10 blood crystals express our gratitude? Even if it's all of them, it's still too little. You must take all of them. Gu Kai. You just broke through to the extreme stage, so you can continue to raise your realm. You can also use these blood crystals. Of course, if you want the Sunny Creek village to be destroyed by other tribes, I can take all of them. Without these, I can still search for more, Gu Kai said in a deep voice. Before you can find more blood crystals, the Sunny Creek village would have been destroyed. Murong Yu sneered. Big brother Yen. Gu Kai was in a difficult position. He looked at Yen Lai, who was beside him. Let's do as Mr. Murong said. We'll keep these blood crystals. If Mr. Murong hasn't left yet, we'll give all the blood crystals we find to Mr. Murong in a few days. Gu Kai's eyes immediately lit up. Yes, we'll go out to search for blood crystals in a few days. Brother Murong, when the time comes, you can come with us. With your strength, you'll definitely be able to obtain more blood crystals. Murong Yu's heart moved, and he immediately asked. As it turned out, the blood crystals weren't scattered all over the desolate world. Instead, they existed in some similar mines. There was a mine near the Sunny Creek village. Every once in a while, the mine would open once in a while. Every time it opened, countless experts from different tribes would come to search for it. During that time, all the tribes nearby would stop fighting because all the experts had to enter the mine to search for blood crystals. And the mine would open in 3 months. Okay, we'll go to the mine together in 3 months. Murong Yu decided. Yen Lai and Gu Kai were overjoyed. This meant that Murong Yu could stay in the Sunny Creek village for 3 months. At least, during these 3 months, the High Sun village wouldn't dare to attack them. Moreover, with Murong Yu's strength, they would definitely obtain a lot of blood crystals if they entered the mine. Murong Yu immediately stayed in the Sunny Creek village. At this moment, Murong Yu was sitting cross-legged in the house that Gu Kai and the others had arranged for him. The blood crystals can be swallowed directly or refined. Murong Yu muttered to himself and threw a blood crystal into his mouth. The blood crystal didn't seem to have any energy fluctuation, but it melted in his mouth and turned into a blood-red torrent that surged toward Murong Yu's limbs and bones. At the same time, an enormous amount of killing intent burst out and wreaked havoc in Murong Yu's body. During this process, Murong Yu felt that his comprehension was increasing rapidly. Murong Yu frowned. The quality of the blood crystal wasn't high. Although it could increase comprehension, there was a limit to how much it could increase. On the contrary, the killing intent that suddenly burst out was tempering Murong Yu's body as it wreaked havoc in his body. Relying on killing intent to improve his body? If that was the case, couldn't he just absorb the killing intent between heaven and earth? He didn't need the killing intent in the blood crystal. Chapter 1091. That's not right. There's another force in the killing intent. Murong Yu carefully observed the killing intent that was raging in his body and suddenly made a discovery. There was killing intent everywhere in the deserted world, especially in the chi of heaven and earth. The killing intent was extremely violent. Once invaded, no matter how powerful one would either explode and die or turn into a devil that only knew how to kill without any humanity. The same went for the killing intent in the blood crystal. However, there was more killing intent in the blood crystal, just like the tree of life. The killing intent was raging in Murong Yu's body. Murong Yu's body had already reached the level of a superb divine weapon. However, some of his body was still torn apart by the killing intent. After the body was torn apart, Murong Yu saw a blood-red force in the blood crystal. The blood-red force easily repaired the muscles that were torn apart by the killing intent. Tear and repair. After a cycle, the strength of the muscles increased slightly. Just like when Murong Yu was cultivating in the gravity secret place, his body was constantly being torn apart by gravity, but the life force repaired it quickly. The blood crystal could improve the strength of the body for the same reason. After observing, Morong Yu soon discovered that the blood-red force that had the ability to repair had a ratio of 1 to 9 to the killing intent. In other words, if the power of a blood crystal was divided into 10 parts, the killing intent would take up 9 parts while the rest would be the blood-red force. One part of the blood-red force can barely repair the damage caused by 9 parts of the killing intent. If I devour more blood crystals at the same time, the blood-red force won't be able to repair it quickly. If that's the case, the person will explode from the killing intent. Morong Yu quickly figured it out. However, the blood crystals that he had were of too low a grade and too few of them. They had no effect on improving his body at all. However, he could not understand why the blood crystals could improve his comprehension. While pondering, Morong Yu threw another blood crystal into his mouth. After the blood crystal melted, his comprehension increased slightly again. Still not enough. After swallowing 5 blood crystals in a row, Morong Yu's comprehension ability barely doubled. Then, he began to comprehend the record of chaotic celestial bodies. With his perception increased, Morong Yu's perception had indeed increased by quite a bit. However, it was extremely difficult to break through the chaotic celestial body record. Until half a month later, Morong Yu began to feel that his comprehension was gradually declining. He immediately knew that the effect of the blood crystal was about to expire. Immediately, he swallowed the last 5 blood crystals. Another half a month later, Su Hao suddenly opened his eyes. A cold glint flashed across his eyes. However, a look of regret soon appeared on his face. He was so close to breaking through. Once he obtained the primal chaos celestial body record, he would be able to reach the primordial god realm. There are still too few blood crystals. If he had enough blood crystals, he would be able to break through during this closed-door cultivation. Gu Kai, are you going to submit or not? At this moment, a disdainful voice entered Morong Yu's ears. Morong Yu changed slightly. With a sway of his figure, he disappeared from the spot and appeared outside Creek Sun Village. At this moment, outside Creek Sun Village, many men of Creek Sun Village had been beaten to the ground. Some were unconscious, but some were screaming and moaning. Morong Yu even saw that a few people had lost their lives. Yen Lai, one of the 2 great warriors of Creek Sun Village, was also unconscious. And Gu Kai, who had just broken through to the Supreme Grade realm a month ago, was now being trampled under the feet of High Sun Village's warrior, Mi Yang. He was seriously injured. He didn't even have the strength to speak. But Gu Kai still looked at Mi Yang with angry eyes. Anger, indignation, and incomparable hatred. Mi Yang, you're here to cause trouble again? Morong Yu's face was gloomy, and he was very unhappy. This Mi Yang clearly knew that he was here, but he still dared to come and cause trouble. Wasn't this a slap to his face? You're that Morong Yu? A middle-aged man walked out from behind Mi Yang and looked at Morong Yu with disdain. His expression was like that of a high and mighty emperor, not taking Morong Yu seriously at all. I thought Mi Yang had eaten a leopard's guts. So there's an expert like you. Morong Yu looked over and found that this person's body was also at the supreme grade divine artifact level. But his cultivation level was much higher than Mi Yang's. Mi Yang's cultivation level was only at the early stage, but the middle-aged man was at the mid-stage. And his body seemed to be stronger than Mi Yang's as well. Get out of my way. Morong Yu's figure flickered, and he rushed to Mi Yang's side with a single step, then threw a punch at Mi Yang. The middle-aged man sneered and also took a step to Mi Yang's side. He also threw a punch at Morong Yu's fist. He actually wanted to meet Morong Yu's strength head-on. Morong Yu sneered in his heart. Invincible divine fist, advance courageously. The punch landed on the middle-aged man's body. Boom! After a loud sound, the middle-aged man's expression changed and he was immediately sent flying. Morong Yu's fist didn't stop at all. After sending the middle-aged man flying, it immediately landed on Mi Yang's body. Ah! Mi Yang immediately let out a miserable cry. Half of his body had been smashed apart by Murongyu's punch, and he was sent flying far away, leaving a trail of blood in the air. 2 supreme-grade experts were sent flying with a single punch. The excited people of High Sun Village were suddenly speechless, and they all looked at Murongyu blankly. Before this, the middle-aged man had easily defeated Mi Yang. At that time, they all thought that the middle-aged man would be able to easily defeat Murongyu, so they rushed over. However, they didn't expect that the middle-aged man would be sent flying by Murongyu with a single punch. While the people of High Sun Village were still in shock, Murongyu had already grabbed Gu Kai, who was originally under Mi Yang's foot, and at the same time, injected a stream of life energy into his body. At the same time, Murongyu's life energy was injected into the injured or unconscious people of Creek Sun Village. With the healing of the life energy, everyone's injuries quickly healed. Then, they all stood behind Murongyu, and all of them looked at the people of High Sun Village with hatred. If they had the strength, they definitely wouldn't hesitate to attack and kill Murongyu, Mi Yang, and the others. Big Brother Murong. Gu Kai's injuries were soon mostly healed. At this moment, he, who was looking at Mi Yang and the others with hatred, suddenly turned around and knelt in front of Murongyu. Big Brother Murong, please accept me as your disciple. As he spoke, Gu Kai kept kowtowing. Murongyu was powerful, and he knew many cultivation methods and combat skills. For the people of the desolate world who lacked cultivation methods and combat skills, he was definitely a master teacher. Although Gu Kai was simple and honest, he wasn't stupid. However, that didn't mean that he was a fool. He knew Murongyu's strength and the situation in Sunny Creek Village. Once Murongyu left Creek Sun Village, it would be wiped out by the other tribes. Moreover, he was also in the extreme stage like Mi Yang and the others, but there was a huge gap between their strength. In a month's time, his strength had increased a lot. However, Mi Yang had obviously received guidance from a master teacher, and his strength had increased even more. Just now, Gu Kai couldn't even take 3 hits from Mi Yang, and he was almost crippled. Get up first. Murongyu grabbed Gu Kai's shoulder and lifted him up. Gu Kai was still unwilling, but he couldn't struggle. The gap between the two was too big. Gu Kai, you're trash. What's the point of relying on an outsider? If you have the ability, beat me yourself. If you do, I, Mi Yang, will never touch a single blade of grass in Creek Sun Village again. Mi Yang had already used a large amount of divine power to recover the half of his body that Murongyu had shattered. He walked up and said coldly. Murongyu's heart jumped, and he looked at Mi Yang indifferently. He then asked Gu Kai, how many moves did you lose to Mi Yang? Less than 3 moves. His strength has increased a lot, and his speed and attacks are much stronger than before. Gu Kai lowered his head in shame. Murongyu nodded. He was sure that the reason why Mi Yang had improved so much was because someone from the God Realm came to High Sun Village and gave him guidance. And it was very likely that it was one of the 2 quasi-saint that Murongyu came. In a month, Gu Kai will personally come to High Sun Village to challenge you. Prepare a large amount of blood crystals and holy artifact. Once you lose, those will be Gu Kai's spoils. Now scram. Ha ha. 1 month. I'd like to see how a trash like Gu Kai can defeat me. Mi Yang laughed loudly and then turned to leave. As for the middle-aged man with the arrogant expression, he had already left the moment he was sent flying by Murongyu's punch. He probably felt ashamed and didn't have the face to see anyone. Big Brother Murong, how can I defeat him in a month? Gu Kai didn't say anything before, but now he was anxious. If you can't defeat that trash Mi Yang in a month, you can kill yourself. Murongyu patted Gu Kai's shoulder and said. Gu Kai stared blankly for a moment, then reacted. Big Brother Murong, you're taking me as your disciple? Murongyu shook his head. My standards for taking in disciples are very high. I'm only teaching you some battle skills and cultivation methods, not taking you as a disciple. Of course, if you can meet my requirements, it's not impossible to take you as a disciple. Although Gu Kai was a bit disappointed, he was still very happy. Big brother Morong, I'll definitely meet your requirements. I'll definitely acknowledge you as my master. It's good to have hope, but don't have too much hope. Morong Yu patted Gu Kai's shoulder, and then turned to enter Creek Sun Village. Chapter 1092. Long ago, Morong Yu discovered that the people of the desolate world didn't pay attention to battle skills or cultivation technique. Two experts whose bodies had reached the level of a supreme grade divine artifact were treated like ruffians. Later, when he talked with Yen Lai, Morong Yu understood this world. Only those large tribes had cultivation techniques and battle skills. As for a small village like Sunny Creek Village with only a few hundred people, they didn't even know what a cultivation technique was. In fact, there was a cultivation method in Sunny Creek Village that was used to temper one's physical body. However, it was extremely crude, so Morong Yu tossed it aside after a single glance. It wasn't even as high level as the cultivation techniques of the cultivation world. Could it be that the people of this world are incapable? They can't create a cultivation technique? Morong Yu was suspicious. However, he also knew that the people of the desolate world definitely weren't stupid. But why couldn't they create a cultivation technique? There was only one reason. It was like the beginning of a civilization. At the beginning of a civilization, it was in the stage of development. Words, knowledge, and so on were all in the stage of exploration. If a civilization was compared to a warrior, then the current civilization of the God Realm was equivalent to a warrior who had cultivated to the peak. The civilization of the desolate world was just a warrior who had just come into contact with the world of cultivation and didn't understand anything. Therefore, when Morong Yu threw out the simplest battle skill, the people of Sunny Creek Village rolled their eyes. They couldn't understand it at all. Dragon Elephant Prajna Art. This was a powerful battle skill that Morong Yu had cultivated from the beginning. Even now, he was still using this battle skill in battle. Now, he decided to teach this cultivation technique to Gu Kai. After all, the only thing suitable for the desolate world was battle skills. Thousand Army Elephant Drawing Fist. Outside Sunny Creek Village, Gu Kai roared and punched out. Immediately, an extremely terrifying power surged out from his hand, causing ripples to appear in the space around him. After the roar of a dragon and an elephant, a huge dragon and a huge elephant roared, tearing the sky and splitting the earth. They pounced towards a small hill in front of them. In an instant, the small hill was blasted apart with a loud bang. Gu Kai immediately laughed, his voice filled with excitement. With his strength, it would be easy for him to destroy that small hill with a single punch. However, he wanted to punch the small hill directly. However, all he did was throw a punch across the air. In fact, he did not even use the power of his cultivation. It was just the power of a battle skill. Seeing this, Morong Yu, who was not far from Gu Kai, nodded slightly. In the beginning, Gu Kai was completely clueless about this set of combat skills. However, after Morong Yu had imparted some of his experiences to him, his talent for combat skills had shown itself. In less than a few days, he had already grasped the basics of the dragon-elephant Prajna art. He even used the dragon-elephant phenomenon. If he could completely control this cultivation method, his strength would definitely double. Defeating Mi Yang would be no problem at all. While Morong Yu was teaching Gu Kai combat skills in High Sun Village, Senior, the #1 warrior of High Sun Village, Mi Yang, bowed in front of a middle-aged man with an extremely respectful expression. "Is there any news about Morong Yu?" The middle-aged man looked at Mi Yang and asked indifferently. "Morong Yu is currently sparring with Gu Kai in Shiyang Village," Mi Yang said respectfully. The two of them were both in the divine realm, but Mi Yang's body was much stronger than the middle-aged man's. Logically speaking, Mi Yang shouldn't be so servile. However, only Mi Yang knew. Although his body was much stronger than this person's, the middle-aged man in front of him could easily kill him, because this middle-aged man had an extremely brilliant combat skill. In front of a brilliant combat skill, the physical strength he was so proud of was just a joke. "Senior, are you really going to kill Murong-yu?" Mi-young suddenly asked. A cold light flashed in the middle-aged man's eyes. "What? Are you afraid?" "I wouldn't dare," Mi-young hurriedly said. However, he was cursing in his heart. "Even you are no match for Murong-yu, and you want me to kill him? Isn't that asking me to die? In the divine realm outside, I can easily kill Murong-yu. Although my combat skill is far superior to Murong-yu's, your body is in the divine realm. But in your desolate world, my physical body is restricted. The difference between me and Murong-yu is too great. That's why it's hard for me to kill Murong-yu alone. However, if I cooperate with you, it's more than enough to kill him." Mi-young continued cursing in his heart. "If you are so strong, why don't you wait until you reach the divine realm to kill Murong-yu? Do you have to do it here? You are definitely no match for Murong-yu outside." This middle-aged man came from the divine realm, and was the quasi-saint whose blood crystal Murong-yu stole. After he came to High Sun Village, he taught Mi-young combat skills in exchange for a large number of blood crystals. He also wanted to bring Mi-young out of the divine realm. "I'm afraid I can't do it alone. Last time, that idiot was sent flying by Murong-yu, but he escaped from High Sun Village. Damn it." Mi-young's eyes flashed coldly. Mi-young was talking about the middle-aged man who was sent flying by Murong-yu. That man was a wandering master who was recruited by Mi-young into High Sun Village. However, he didn't expect that after he was defeated, he fled in the middle of the night. This made Mi-young very angry. "Try to find as many masters as you in a month. Don't tell me you can't find such people with powerful combat skills." The middle-aged man looked at Mi-young calmly and said, "I can definitely do it," Mi-young said respectfully. However, he couldn't help but curse in his heart. "Bastard, you only taught me part of the combat skills. As long as you kill Murong-yu, I'll take you out of the divine realm. Once you leave the divine realm, with your special abilities, you'll definitely be able to move unhindered," the human quasi-saint said calmly. However, he didn't even know how to leave the divine realm. Gu Kai's talent was extremely high, and his understanding of combat skills was comparable to Murong-yu's. He was definitely a talent that could be molded. In less than a month, he had already comprehended most of the dragon-elephant prajna technique. Of course, during this process, Murong-yu also imparted some combat techniques and physical cultivation techniques to the villagers of Sunny Creek Village. Of course, those were just ordinary high-grade cultivation method. The dragon-elephant prajna technique was only taught to Gu Kai alone. However, in High Sun Village, other than Yen Lai, everyone else's talent was really bad. In a month, they couldn't even reach the beginner level, let alone the higher level. "Big brother Murong, my talent isn't bad, right? Did I reach your standards for a disciple?" On this day, after cultivating, Gu Kai excitedly ran in front of Murong-yu and asked. The muscles on Murong-yu's face twitched slightly. Gu Kai asked this question at least dozens of times every day, and he never got tired of it. "Let's talk about it after you defeat me." Murong-yu finally lost his patience. Gu Kai immediately became depressed. "Wait until I defeat you, then I can be your master." Murong-yu immediately glared. Gu Kai scratched his head and smiled foolishly, not afraid of Murong-yu at all. "Your talent is enough to be my disciple. It's just that." Murong-yu looked at Gu Kai and said calmly. After spending some time together, Murong-yu had indeed taken a liking to Gu Kai. Don't be fooled by the fact that he looked like a big fool who would smile foolishly all day long. He was actually very talented. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to cultivate the dragon-elephant prajna technique to the large success stage in a month. Moreover, his mind was pure, and he was definitely the best candidate for cultivation. As long as he had a good teacher to guide him and a good cultivation technique, His future achievements would definitely not be bad. At least, he could become a sage. Morongyu also discovered that although Gu Kai didn't have any special physique, he had a very pure heart. However, he had a pure and innocent heart. Even if their talent was ordinary, they would still be able to cultivate at twice the speed with half the effort. Moreover, this silly guy's talent was definitely not bad. The most important thing was his heart for Sunny Creek Village. He completely treated Sunny Creek Village as his own family to protect. Unless he died, he would definitely not allow Sunny Creek Village to be harmed. However, it was also because of this that Morongyu hesitated. If they were in the realm of the gods, Morongyu would definitely take him as his disciple without hesitation. But now, Master, please accept me as your disciple. Gu Kai was instantly overjoyed and bowed to Morongyu. However, he was blocked by Morongyu. Although I won't ask my disciples to serve me, I am from the realm of the gods. In the future, I will ascend to the holy world and become a sage. Therefore, if you want to take me as your master, you must leave the desolate world with me and return to the realm of the gods. Then, you will ascend to the holy world. At this point, Morongyu patted Gu Kai's shoulder and said, "Think about it carefully." Gu Kai immediately became silent. Sunny Creek Village was his home. The reason why he wanted to become strong was to protect this home. If he had to leave this home to become strong, he couldn't accept it. However, great power was also his goal. Even becoming a sage was also his goal. Of course, before I leave, I will also leave some cultivation techniques for Sunny Creek Village. Yes, after the trip to the mine, I will leave the desolate world. Therefore, you still have a few months to think about it. Don't worry, think carefully. The desolate world. Morongyu already had a rough idea of what kind of place it was. In the end, he would have to leave this world. However, he didn't dare to guarantee that when he left, he would be able to bring the people of the desolate world with him. This was because although he could enter the Hichu Luoshu world now, he couldn't. He couldn't sense the transfer point to the realm of the gods. It was as if he had entered the heavenly region again. Moreover, the desolate world and the realm of the gods were two different worlds. If he brought them to the realm of the gods, would they be able to adapt? Gu Kai fell silent as he watched Morongyu's figure gradually disappear into the distance. Chapter 1093. A month's time passed quickly, and today was the day of the month. Early in the morning, Morongyu led the warriors of Xiang village to the outskirts of Gaoyang village. Mi Yang and the others had already gathered outside Gaoyang village, waiting. They all looked at Morongyu's group with disdain as they approached. Morongyu immediately noticed that other than Mi Yang, there were a few more supreme-grade powerhouses in Gaoyang village. All of them had surging qi and blood, and their auras suppressed the entire area. Morongyu only smiled faintly at this. His intuition told him that Mi Yang was up to something. But in front of absolute strength, all schemes were paper tigers that would be smashed by his fist. Gu Kai, you really dare to come here? You really don't know your own strength. Before Morongyu and the others got close, the #1 warrior of Gaoyang village, Mi Yang, walked out slowly with a cold smile. If it was a month ago, Gu Kai might not have dared to come here after being almost killed by Mi Yang twice in a row. But in this month, he had not only grown stronger, but also more confident. Confidence always came with strength. The stronger one was, the stronger one's confidence. Gu Kai was like that. Mi Yang, hand over all your sacred weapons and blood crystals, and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, you'll die. Gu Kai strode out and looked at Mi Yang indifferently. If you defeat me, the sacred weapons and blood crystals will naturally be yours. If you fail, I'll take your life today. Cut the crap and make your move. Gu Kai stood in front of Mi Yang and said faintly. Mi Yang was furious. Gu Kai was someone who had been beaten by him countless times. This time, he had to make the first move? Wasn't this an insult to him? But when he thought of their plan, he sneered inwardly. He knew that after today, Gu Kai and Murong Yu would no longer exist. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Mi Yang roared and leaped out. He turned into a phantom and appeared directly in front of Gu Kai. Then, he threw a punch at Gu Kai. Gu Kai sneered. He slid his feet and disappeared from Mi Yang's side in a flash. One move! Gu Kai shouted coldly. Mi Yang was enraged. His figure flickered as he charged forward once again. However, Gu Kai did not counterattack. Instead, he dodged again. 2 moves. Mi Yang was about to explode from anger. A month ago, Gu Kai couldn't even withstand 3 of his moves even when he tried his best, but today, he couldn't even touch the corner of his clothes after 2 consecutive moves. How did his strength increase so terrifyingly? During this month, Mi Yang's strength had been increasing. It was several times stronger than before. Originally, he thought that even if Gu Kai had improved, he would still be easily killed by him. However, he didn't expect Gu Kai's strength to increase even more than his. 3 moves. Mi Yang, I'll give you 3 moves. Next, I will defeat you in 3 moves. After Gu Kai retreated again, he looked at Mi Yang from afar and said indifferently. His expression was full of disdain. Right now, Gu Kai was confident that he could kill Mi Yang. Under Murong Yu's guidance, he not only cultivated the dragon-elephant prajna art, but also other battle skills. Among them, his movement technique had also improved to a terrifying level. Otherwise, with his previous movement technique, he wouldn't have been able to dodge even one of Mi Yang's punches. During this process, Murong Yu discovered that the few extreme realm powerhouses who were originally in the crowd had disappeared into the crowd. Although Murong Yu saw it, he only sneered. Then, unknowingly, he left a power clone standing in place, and his original body disappeared. Shwa! The invisible Murong Yu used his angel's wings and rushed directly into High Sun Village. Spreading out his divine sense, he immediately saw the human clan's quasi-saint, who he had almost killed before, sitting cross-legged in a room. You want to kill me? Murong Yu appeared in front of the quasi-saint. Originally, the human clan's quasi-saint was resting with his eyes closed, but he suddenly heard Murong Yu's voice. He was immediately startled. Immediately, he opened his eyes. The moment he saw Murong Yu, he couldn't help but retreat. Murong Yu's figure flashed, and with a step, he appeared behind him, blocking his path with a smile on his face. If they were in the realm of the gods, Murong Yu definitely wouldn't be this person's opponent. But in the desolate world, this quasi-saint could only run when he saw him. Their cultivation levels were the same, but the difference in physical strength and speed was too great. Hand over all the blood crystals you have, or die. Murong Yu looked at the rank 3 quasi-saint, whose expression had changed, and said indifferently. The rank 3 quasi-saint's expression was very ugly. He, a quasi-saint, was actually threatened by a heaven emperor. If this matter were to spread, how could he still have the face to stay in the realm of the gods? But between his face and his life, which was more important? Murong Yu, don't be so ruthless. I may not be your opponent now, but if we were in the realm of the gods, I could easily kill you. Murong Yu laughed. I have 4 rank 10 quasi-saint in my Shenzhen, and almost 20 high-level quasi-saint. Any one of them could easily kill you. Do you really think it's easy to kill me? The rank 3 quasi-saint's expression became even uglier. Do you know why I waited a month before making my move? Murong Yu wasn't afraid that the quasi-saint would escape, and sat down on a chair in the room. You knew about my existence a month ago? The rank 3 quasi-saint looked at Murong Yu with a gloomy expression, his eyes flashing. No one knew what he was thinking. Otherwise, do you think that Trash Mi Yang could comprehend a battle skill on his own? In a month's time, you should have gathered a lot of blood crystals, right? Cut the crap, take out all the blood crystals. Murong Yu suddenly shouted. The rank 3 quasi-saint was furious, and his killing intent soared. He felt extremely sullen. It turned out that Murong Yu had known about his existence long ago. The only reason he didn't come looking for trouble was to give him time to gather the blood crystals. In this way, Murong Yu could easily obtain a large amount of blood crystals. Take the blood crystals. The rank 3 quasi-saint threw a storage ring to Murong Yu. At the same time, his heart was bleeding. These were the blood crystals he had exchanged for using his battle skill. He had prepared to use them to upgrade his physical body. A few dozen? After Murong Yu received the storage ring, his face turned gloomy. That's all I have. I used up the rest, the rank 3 quasi-saint said angrily. At this point, even though he was extremely angry, he still felt ashamed. He originally had hundreds of blood crystals, but he had wasted dozens of them. After wasting dozens of blood crystals, he didn't see any improvement in his physical body. More than 100 blood crystals? Murong Yu frowned. There were dozens of blood crystals in Sunny Creek Village, but High Sun Village, which was many times larger than Sunny Creek Village, only had so few blood crystals? These are all my blood crystals. Seeing Murong Yu's gaze, the rank 3 quasi-saint was furious. But I don't believe it. The storage ring in Murong Yu's hand disappeared with a whoosh. At the same time, he disappeared on the spot. Boom. The moment Murong Yu disappeared, the rank 3 quasi-saint's heart was enveloped by a strong aura of death. At this moment, the rank 3 quasi-saint was shocked. He knew that Murong Yu wanted to kill him. Therefore, he didn't have time to react and retreated immediately. You can't escape. Murong Yu's cold voice sounded in his ears. Then, the rank 3 quasi-saint felt his physical body being hit by a huge fist containing destructive power. A terrifying power suddenly erupted. Immediately, the rank 3 quasi-saint discovered to his horror that his physical body exploded under the terrifying force. Swoosh. His soul rushed out of the soul space instantly and was about to escape into the distance. As long as his soul wasn't destroyed, he could condense a physical body again in the end. Seeing the rank 3 quasi-saint's soul fleeing into the distance in panic, the corners of Murong Yu's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a hint of disdain. In the desolate world, there was murderous aura everywhere. The rank 3 quasi-saint's soul was exposed to the murderous aura. It wouldn't take long for it to be destroyed. However, Su Hao obviously wouldn't let him go. He took a step forward and punched out again. Murong Yu, you will die in the desolate world in the end. The rank 3 quasi-saint let out a scream and curse. Is this how it feels to kill a quasi-saint? After killing a rank 3 quasi-saint with one punch, Murong Yu felt a sense of pleasure in his heart. He had a huge sense of accomplishment. In fact, any heavenly emperor who killed a quasi-saint would feel even more pleasure than Murong Yu. At the same time that Murong Yu killed the rank 3 quasi-saint with one punch, outside High Sun Village, Mi Yang was also trampled to the ground by Gu Kai. Mi Yang, are you willing to submit? Gu Kai roared, his face full of excitement. In fact, a layer of tears even appeared in his eyes. How many times had he been humiliated under Mi Yang's feet? And now, he had finally turned the tables and stepped on the ground of the past. Mi Yang's face was ashen as he was stepped on by Gu Kai. His eyes were tightly shut and he didn't say a word. Crack! Gu Kai exerted force with his foot and stomped down. However, he almost crushed all the bones in Mi Yang's body. Mi Yang, are you willing to submit? Gu Kai shouted angrily again. Mi Yang still didn't say a word. On the other hand, everyone in High Sun Village was stunned. All of them looked at Mi Yang, who was stepped on the ground in a daze, but for a moment they didn't react. Gu Kai was instantly furious. Terrifying killing intent erupted from his body. He exerted force with his foot, wanting to crush Mi Yang. However, at this moment, a large hand patted him on the shoulder. Gu Kai was furious, and without even looking, he sent out a punch. He wanted to shatter that big hand. Gu Kai, enough. Murong Yu's voice sounded in Gu Kai's ear. Chapter 1094. Big Brother Murong, why didn't you kill Mi Yang for me? Gu Kai stopped his attack and looked at Murong Yu in shock. Could it be that the battle techniques Murong Yu taught him were not for killing enemies? Mi Yang had killed many people in Sunny Creek Village, and Gu Kai hated him greatly. This time, he really wanted to kill him. Sunny Creek Village needs to grow stronger, otherwise it will be lost in the long river of history. If you want to grow stronger, just relying on strength is not enough. You need to win people over with virtue and be good at using resources. Gu Kai, Yen Lai, and the rest looked at Murong Yu in confusion. Mi Yang and these people are all resources. Murong Yu pointed at the few peak stage cultivators he had just thrown to the ground. These were the cultivators that had disappeared into the crowd. These people were originally meant to deal with Murong Yu, and were prepared to kill Murong Yu. However, they did not know that they were completely invisible in Murong Yu's eyes. After Murong Yu killed the Type 3 quasi-saint, he had pulled them out from hiding and sealed them. They are all resources? Gu Kai and the others were stunned. They had no idea what Murong Yu was talking about. What were you going to do after defeating Mi Yang? Destroy High Sun Village? Or just kill Mi Yang? Why do you think I taught you to defeat Mi Yang 1 month after today? Why? If it was just to steal their blood crystals, I could have killed them myself. But I did not do that. Gu Kai was stunned and pondered for a while before saying, Big Brother Murong Yu wants me to defeat Mi Yang personally, and use my strength to suppress and even subdue High Sun Village. That is Big Brother Murong's goal. Although Gu Kai had a simple and honest appearance, he was quick-witted and extremely intelligent. After being reminded by Murong Yu, he immediately reacted. But what should we do with these people? They would never submit to him. Even if he did submit, it wasn't a sincere submission. Gu Kai looked at Murong Yu in confusion as he stomped on Mi Yang. Asterisk crack crack crack. Asterisk a few more of Mi Yang's bones were broken, causing him to grit his teeth in anger, wishing he could go on a rampage and kill Gu Kai. Very simple, I'll teach you a method. Murong Yu smiled faintly and sent out 2 beams of light into Gu Kai and Yen Lai's memories. Soul control. After seeing that memory, Gu Kai and Yen Lai were overjoyed. Then, after practicing in their minds, they began to control Mi Yang and the others. Mi Yang, I know you're not willing to submit to me. Now you will be my slave. Gu Kai laughed and began to control Mi Yang's soul. However, although Gu Kai had grasped the method to control souls, it was his first time using it. After running around in Mi Yang's soul space for a while, he still couldn't control it. However, Mi Yang's soul was almost torn apart, causing him so much pain that he wanted to die, and was almost rolling on the ground. Gu Kai, kill me! Mi Yang finally opened his mouth. He was willing to die to become the slave of Mi Yang, someone he had defeated before. Ha ha! You want to die? I won't let you die. Amidst the laughter, Mi Yang's screams were like that of a pig being slaughtered. It was unknown if Gu Kai was torturing Mi Yang on purpose, or if he really didn't know how to control souls. After Yen Lai controlled the 2 peak stage powerhouses, he continued to experiment on Mi Yang. In the end, when Mi Yang was about to die from the pain, he finally succeeded in controlling him. Master! After his soul was controlled, Mi Yang had completely submitted to Gu Kai. Immediately, he climbed up from the ground and bowed respectfully to Gu Kai. Gu Kai laughed heartily again. In the small tribes of the wastelands, the position of the number 1 warrior was even higher than the village chief. Thus, after Mi Yang's soul was controlled by Gu Kai, the ordinary people of High Sun Village immediately submitted to Shiyang Village. In fact, High Sun Village had merged with many other tribes to reach its current size. Although there were many people, Gu Kai and the others were too powerful, and they controlled Mi Yang and a few other peak stage powerhouses. If they were to start a massacre in High Sun Village, all the villagers would be wiped out. Moreover, it was normal for tribes to submit to each other. High Sun Village immediately changed its name to Shiyang Village. With Murong Yu's help, Shiyang Village finally took the first step to expand its territory. At this time, there was still more than a month before the Blood Crystal Mine opened. Gu Kai and the others were cultivating and organizing High Sun Village. Out of gratitude to Murong Yu, Gu Kai gathered all the blood crystals of High Sun Village and gave them to Murong Yu. There were hundreds of them. Unfortunately, they were only low-grade blood crystals. However, even if it was only a low-grade blood crystal, it was still extremely precious. At this time, Murong Yu was in seclusion in his room, trying to break through to the next level. The blood crystals were constantly being refined, and the power of the evil spirit was slowly refining Murong Yu's divine body. Although the improvement was very small, it was still an improvement. If I have a large number of blood crystals, I can refine my body to the level of a holy artifact. I believe that's a great feat that no one has ever done before, Murong Yu thought to himself. A body of a holy artifact level. With Murong Yu's current physical body, even the gravity secret zone wouldn't be able to increase the grade of his physical body. Only the blood crystals could do so. However, it had to be high-grade blood crystals and a large number of them. I must get a large number of blood crystals in the blood crystal mine in a month's time. Murong Yu made up his mind and began to comprehend the records of chaotic celestial bodies. As time passed, he comprehended more and more of the records of chaotic celestial bodies. What should I do? Brother Murong hasn't come out yet, and the blood crystal mine will open tomorrow. If we're late, we might not get anything. High Sun Village, no, Creek Village. At this time, Gu Kai and the others gathered outside Murong Yu's room, looking gloomy. They were looking at Murong Yu's room. We're quite a distance away from the blood crystal mine. I'm afraid we can't get there in a day, and we don't know when Brother Murong will come out. Everyone's expression was gloomy. In the past, both Creek Village and High Sun Village were not strong, and they were bullied in the blood crystal mine, so they could not get many blood crystals. Now they had many superior grade experts. They wanted to show off their skills in the blood crystal mine, but Murong Yu was still in seclusion. Shall we go first? An expert looked at Gu Kai and asked. Gu Kai was now the #1 warrior of Creek Village. He had a very high status. No. Brother Murong said he would go, and he will come out. We can't break our promise to Brother Murong. Don't forget, if it weren't for Brother Murong, we would have been dead, Gu Kai said in a low voice. Everyone was silent. At worst, we'll go later and snatch the crystals directly. Humph, it was always us who were bullied, the superior grade expert from High Sun Village said coldly. Everyone nodded. Time continued to pass, and a day and night passed. Today was the day the blood crystal mine would open. However, Murong Yu did not wake up. Gu Kai and the others were still waiting in front of the room where Murong Yu was in seclusion. If Murong Yu did not come out, they would not go to the blood crystal mine. Suddenly, a long roar like a dragon's roar came from Murong Yu's room. The sound was loud and clear, and it spread far and wide. Brother Murong is coming out. Gu Kai was pleasantly surprised. Before he could finish his sentence, a figure appeared out of thin air in front of them. Who else could it be other than Murong Yu? Brother Murong, you broke through? Although they did not see any changes in Murong Yu, he was excited to come out of seclusion. Gu Kai and the others naturally thought that he had broken through. Murong Yu nodded. He had really broken through. He had successfully comprehended the 6th level of the chaotic celestial record. The reason why there were no changes in his body was that the chaotic celestial record had allowed him to break through from the heavenly emperor realm to the peak Archean god realm. However, he did not have enough power to break through. Therefore, his realm did not change. A few hundred blood crystals had allowed Murong Yu to successfully break through. However, after the breakthrough, it would be even more difficult to comprehend higher realms. He would need even more blood crystals. Is the blood crystal mine open? Murong Yu looked at Gu Kai. Today is the day the mine opens, Gu Kai said hurriedly, sounding anxious. Then what are we waiting for? Are the arrangements in the village done? Seeing Gu Kai nod his head, Murong Yu activated his angelic wings with a thought, covering the sky and earth. Then, before Gu Kai and the others could react, they were swept up by a force. In the next moment they found themselves in the air. In less than an instant, Sunny Creek Village had disappeared from their sight. So fast. Everyone was stunned in an instant. With Murong Yu's speed, it would have taken him a few hours to reach the blood crystal mine, which would have taken him a few days. Brother Murong, you are wasting too much power like this. Let us go on our own, Gu Kai said. In the wasteland, although everyone could fly, they had to fly on the ground. This was because flying consumed several times more power than flying on the ground. If they traveled at full speed, their power would be exhausted very quickly. Once their power was exhausted, it would be useless no matter how strong their bodies were. Without power, how could they attack or escape? Although their cultivation realm was not high, it played a supporting role. Chapter 1095. Luyang Cliff was several domains away from Creek Sun Village. Normally, Luyang Cliff was just an ordinary cliff. It was ordinary, and not many people would appear here. But today, hundreds of millions of martial artists were gathered here. Low-grade, middle-grade, high-grade, and supreme-grade experts were everywhere. Because today was the only day in the countless domains that the mine was open. In the desolate world, the use of blood crystals was self-evident. If one wanted to obtain blood crystals, they could only do it in the mine. When Murong Yu brought Gu Kai and the others to the vicinity of Luyang Cliff, he saw hundreds of millions of people. Immediately, he frowned slightly and asked, "How big is this mine? Can it accommodate so many people?" The mine is boundless, it can even be said to be endless. However, because the mine is open for a year every time, we have to come out within a year. Otherwise we will die inside. Because in history, those who didn't come out of the mine in time never came out in the end. Later generations even saw their bones in the mine. Only a year? Murong Yu's frown deepened. In the desolate world, although he could teleport here. But he didn't know if he could teleport after the mine closed. If he could teleport, this mine would become his back garden again. However, if he couldn't teleport, he only had a year to find blood crystals. Isn't this the warrior Gu Kai from Creek Sun Village? Why, you're sending us blood crystals this time? Su Hao and the others had just landed on the ground when strange voices sounded one after another. Hearing this voice, Gu Kai, Yenlai, and even Mi Yang were furious. The person who came was the warrior of the Wild Wave tribe, Quanggong. This person was very strong, a senior supreme grade expert. Furthermore, the Wild Wave tribe was much stronger than village-level tribes like Creek Sun Village and High Sun Village. In the past, Gu Kai, Mi Yang, and the others hadn't reached the supreme grade yet, so they had always been bullied by Wild Wave and the others. Because the difference in strength was too great, they could only swallow their anger and let the other party bully them. However, this resentment and hatred had accumulated over time, and Gu Kai and the others had long suppressed their anger. At one point, they wanted to kill Quanggong, or even the entire Wild Wave tribe. However, there were many supreme-grade experts in the Wild Wave tribe. They didn't even have the strength to kill Quanggong. Therefore, they only dared to be angry but didn't dare to say anything. But now, seeing Quang Tao walk over with a sinister smile, the anger that had been accumulating in Gu Kai's heart for countless years instantly erupted. Apart from the fact that his cultivation realm, Murong Yu, Quanggong, Quanggong, Quanggong. Wild Wave, you're courting death. Gu Kai took a few steps forward and looked at Quang Tao with murderous intent. Quanggong was Quanggong. Quang of Wave. Only now did he discover that Gu Kai had already broken through to the extreme level, the same level as him. However, he was only surprised at the beginning. In his heart, he felt that even if Gu Kai broke through to the supreme rank, there was still a huge gap between them. Because in the Violent Billow tribe, he was also one of the few experts, and had even cultivated cultivation techniques and battle skills. As for Gu Kai, even if he broke through, all he had was brute force. Similarly, there were different levels of the supreme grade. In Kuang Gang's eyes, Gu Kai was naturally the worst kind. Thus, he continued to sneer as he strode towards Gu Kai. Morong Yu didn't move. He just looked at the conflict between the two indifferently, as if it had nothing to do with him. This was because, in Morong Yu's eyes, Kuang Gang's physical body was much stronger than Gu Kai's. However, in terms of combat skills and movement techniques, he was definitely no match for Gu Kai. Defeat within 10 moves. Morong Yu took a glance and came to a conclusion. Kuang Gang, die for me! Gu Kai roared. He suddenly took a step forward and appeared in front of Kuang Gang in a flash. Then, he launched a 1,000-army elephant drawing fist at Kuang Gang's chest. Kuang Gang saw a phantom flash in front of him, and then his heart was enveloped by an incomparably strong aura of danger. In an instant, he was greatly shocked. He didn't have time to react at all, but he instinctively retreated. As for Kuang Gang, he was worthy of being called an experienced supreme-grade expert. As he retreated, he reacted immediately. A low roar came from his throat. Divine light shone from his hands, and a terrifying aura that could destroy the heavens and earth erupted, smashing towards Gu Kai's divine fist. Boom! The fists of both sides collided in the void, and a loud sound that could shatter one's eardrums erupted. At the moment of impact, the nearby people saw an invisible shockwave spread out in all directions with the place where the two sides collided as the center. Layers of ripples appeared in the void, as if it was about to shatter. Bang! Bang! Both of them were sent flying. After landing on the ground, they continued to retreat. However, Kuang Gang retreated about 10 steps. Gu Kai, on the other hand, retreated more than 10 steps. In terms of strength alone, Gu Kai was no match for Kuang Gang. That's all you got. Today I'll kill you. Kuang Gang was shocked, but on the surface, he shouted angrily. With a stomp of his foot, he turned into a phantom and pounced towards Gu Kai. Gu Kai's face was gloomy. His eyes flashed with killing intent as he also pounced forward. Idiot, use your movement skills and battle skills to kill him. Seeing that Gu Kai still wanted to fight Kuang Gang head-on, Morong Yu frowned slightly and finally shouted coldly. Gu Kai's heart shook violently. Then, he came to his senses and took a step forward, avoiding Kuang Gang's attack by a hair's breadth. Then, his figure spun and appeared behind Kuang Gang tricky dragon tail kick. Gu Kai's figure suddenly stopped, and then he used the dragon elephant prajna art. He fiercely kicked out with his leg, and with the dragon elephant vision, he viciously whipped Kuang Gang. Kuang Gang's fist hit the void. Although he reacted in time, his body couldn't help but stagnate. Then, he felt an incomparably dangerous power coming from Gu Kai. Kill! Kuang Gang roared and punched out with both fists to block Gu Kai's attack. However, the moment he punched out, Gu Kai took another step forward. His figure flickered, and he disappeared on the spot, appearing on the other side of Kuang Gang. Ripping lung dragon claw kick. Gu Kai roared in his heart and kicked out the dragon elephant vision. Carrying a terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth, it quickly blasted towards Kuang Gang. Kuang Gang was furious and turned around to attack again. However, Gu Kai's figure disappeared again. Bang! After several times, the angry Kuang Gang finally revealed a flaw and was ruthlessly hit in the chest by Gu Kai's 1,000-army elephant drawing fist. This was Kuang Gang's full-strength attack, and it also contained the power of a battle skill. Everyone saw Kuang Gang's entire body being sent flying into the distance. Kuang Gang's tall body arched like a prawn due to the pain. The clothes on his body were all shattered, and his entire chest caved in from the bombardment. Blood spurted out of his mouth. At this moment everyone was stunned. Especially the people of the Wild Wave tribe and Sunny Creek Village. Everyone in Sunny Creek Village knew that Gu Kai was powerful, but they never thought that Gu Kai would be so powerful that he could easily injure Kuang Gang. The people of the Wild Wave tribe were even more shocked, because they were the same as Kuang Gang, thinking that Gu Kai and the others were just trash. If the trash had made a comeback, Kuang Gang, die for me! Gu Kai roared again. In a flash, he had already rushed forward. Divine light flickered on his fist as he appeared beside Kuang Gang and punched down on his head. Once Kuang Gang's head was shattered, his soul would definitely not be able to escape and would be killed by Gu Kai. How dare you! You're courting death. The people of the Wild Wave tribe finally reacted. One by one, they roared and rushed towards Gu Kai, wanting to stop him. However, they were already some distance away from Gu Kai, so how could they stop him in such a hurry? Kuang Gang was about to be killed by Gu Kai's punch. At this moment, Murong Yu took a step forward and teleported to Gu Kai's side. He stretched out his big hand and grabbed Gu Kai's fist. Gu Kai, think about Sunny Creek Village, Murong Yu said indifferently when he grabbed Gu Kai's fist. Gu Kai spat out a breath, then glared at Kuang Gang, who had already fallen to the ground. After spitting, he turned around and was about to leave. After hearing Murong Yu's words, Gu Kai immediately reacted. Kuang Gang was one of the warriors of the Wild Wave tribe. Defeating him was fine, but if he was killed, the Wild Wave tribe would definitely not let Sunny Creek Village off. With the current strength of Sunny Creek Village, they would not be able to resist the Wild Wave tribe and would be directly wiped out from this world. It was precisely because of this that Gu Kai suppressed the violent killing intent in his heart and turned around to leave. However, just as Murong Yu and Gu Kai turned around to leave, Kuang Gang, who had fallen to the ground, suddenly shot up. He turned into a blur and pounced behind Gu Kai. Both of his hands fiercely struck out as he launched a sneak attack on Gu Kai. How could Gu Kai have time to dodge such a sudden sneak attack? While everyone was crying out in alarm, Kuang Gang's fist had already struck the back of Gu Kai's head and was about to kill him. Even Kuang Gang's face revealed a sinister expression. You overestimate yourself. Murong Yu sneered and immediately slapped out with his big hand. Puff! An incomparably crisp slap sounded from afar. Under everyone's gaze, Murong Yu saw Murong Yu ruthlessly slap Kuang Gang's face. At this moment, half of Kuang Gang's face was smashed and caved in. His white teeth spurted out along with large mouthfuls of blood. Chapter 1096. The slap was crisp and resounding. At the same time, when everyone heard the resounding slap, Kuang Gang was sent flying. Kuang Gang was like a kite with a broken string, drawing a beautiful parabola in the air. The blood he spat out scattered in the air, as if it was raining blood. Plop! Kuang Gang finally fell to the ground, and a huge force erupted from his body, creating a huge human-shaped crater on the ground. Kuang Gang's eyes rolled back and he lost consciousness. Who is this person? He's even stronger than Gu Kai? Swish! Countless people's gazes gathered on Murong Yu. Although Gu Kai was able to defeat Kuang Gang, it was because he used his movement technique and battle skills to fight with Kuang Gang for a while. However, Murong Yu didn't use anything. He only slapped out and directly suppressed Kuang Gang. Originally, when Gu Kai was about to kill Kuang Gang, the other warriors of the Raging Wave tribe wanted to rush up and save him. However, at this moment they seemed to be unable to move. They just stood there and looked at Murong Yu with incomparably shocked eyes, not daring to take half a step forward. It was too shocking. Kuang Gang was knocked unconscious with a slap. Wouldn't they end up the same way if they went up? This Kuang Gang is too shameless. He provoked him first, and after being suppressed, the other party clearly didn't kill him. But it was a sneak attack. Shameless and despicable. The Raging Wave tribe is nothing more than this. Some people were discussing, and naturally, even the Raging Wave tribe was on the spot. As for the other members of the Raging Wave tribe, they only dared to be angry but didn't dare to say anything. Those who dared to criticize the Raging Wave tribe were all tribes that were on par with the Raging Wave tribe, or even stronger. These people couldn't afford to offend them. However, although they couldn't afford to offend these people, they couldn't stop their resentment towards Kwang Gang. If it wasn't for this guy's sneak attack, how could the Raging Wave tribe people say that? Now, the entire Raging Wave tribe was labeled as shameless and despicable because of Kwang Gang. Is this person a powerhouse from the Sunny Creek village that recently rose? He's actually so strong? I heard that the Sunny Creek village suppressed the High Sun village that was much stronger than them. Could it be because of this person? Also, did you notice? There were many supreme grade experts in Sunny Creek village. Some of them are even experts from High Sun village. Sunny Creek village is going to become stronger. To even dare to suppress the people of the Violent Wave tribe, this person's strength was too terrifying. Don't provoke them in the future. We can recruit people from Xiang village. If it continues to develop like this, Xiang village will gradually annex the nearby tribes and quickly expand. Many people were secretly commenting on Sunny Creek village. Some were saying that they shouldn't provoke Sunny Creek village, while others wanted to recruit Sunny Creek village. Hearing these discussions, Gu Kai and the others felt very satisfied. The grievance of being bullied in the past also dissipated in an instant. Before this, when they appeared here, no one would even look at them. There were only people like Kwang Gang who took things by force. But now they were treated as equals by many tribes. There was a world of difference between his current status and before. While they were happy, Gu Kai and the others knew that all of this was bestowed upon them by Murong-yu. If it weren't for Murong-yu, they would have died long ago. How could they still have their current status? Therefore, Gu Kai and the others looked at Murong-yu with eyes filled with endless gratitude. Why is the mine opening so slowly this time? No one came to find trouble with Murong-yu and the others. After seeing Murong-yu's strength, if they dared to find trouble with him, wouldn't they be courting death? However, at this time, more and more people came to the outside of the mine, but the blood crystal mine still didn't open. Boom! Just as Gu Kai's voice fell, a sound suddenly came from the incomparably huge cliff. At the same time, Murong-yu saw the incomparably huge cliff violently tremble as well. Then, a huge cave appeared in the sky above the cliff. At the same time, an incomparably foul smell of blood spurted out from the cave, instantly drowning the entire Luyang cliff. Blurg for a moment, many people with low strength immediately vomited crazily. Although the others didn't vomit, their faces were pale and they looked terrible. Even Murong-yu's face didn't look good. He had no choice but to seal all the pores on his body. Not only did the smell of blood, but it was also extremely foul. Even Murong-yu couldn't bear it. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, at the same time as those people vomited, even more people had already soared into the sky, transforming into streaks of light as they charged towards the huge cave, before disappearing within the cave. This cave was obviously the so-called blood crystal mine. Brother Murong, let's go, Gu Kai said quickly and was about to soar into the sky. Murong-yu nodded and waved his hand. A burst of power erupted and wrapped around Gu Kai and the others. Then, his figure flickered and quickly appeared in the cave. Ha ha ha, blood crystals! As soon as Murong-yu entered the cave, he heard a burst of laughter. Obviously, someone had obtained blood crystals here. Moreover, there were many of them. However, Murong-yu didn't see many people stopping at the entrance of the cave, nor did anyone try to rob them, because everyone knew that there were more blood crystals in the depths of the mine. Therefore, one by one, they madly rushed into the depths of the mine. It was a waste of time to rob them now. Only when the time was almost a year would these people wantonly rob others of their blood crystals. Looking from the outside, The cave was only a few miles wide and a few miles high. It wasn't. However, as they went deeper into the mine, it became bigger and bigger. Furthermore, after a certain distance, forks appeared one after another. Whoosh! Murong Yu swept Gu Kai and the others into one of the forks. Every fork in the road was an ore vein. Whether one could obtain a large amount of blood crystals depended on luck and character. However, during this process, Murong Yu found some blood crystals in a mess, and he used his power to sweep them over. Although they were all low-grade blood crystals, there were dozens of them. In just a short while, there were dozens of blood crystals. One could imagine how terrifying the blood crystals in the blood crystal mine were. In the mine, blood crystals will appear every time we enter. Moreover, the deeper we go, the more blood crystals there are. If we can find a mine that no one has been to before, the blood crystals there will definitely be shocking, Gu Kai explained. Rumble, suddenly, there was a sound in front of them that sounded like a torrent passing by. Hearing this, Gu Kai and the others' faces changed drastically. Murong Yu frowned slightly. Just as he was about to ask, the torrent in front of them filled the entire mine and rushed toward them. Is this still an underground river? Seeing the torrent that was surging toward them, Murong Yu was shocked. However, he still reacted immediately. He burst out with a powerful force to form a shield outside, firmly enveloping all of them. Rumble, the speed of the torrent was extremely fast. Just as Murong Yu's force enveloped them, it had already rushed in front of them. In an instant, Murong Yu felt as if he was enveloped by a gigantic sacred mountain. Bang! After a loud sound, the chi and blood in his body fluctuated, and he was suddenly sent flying by the impact. In the end, he was submerged in the endless torrent and was swept away by the waves. Humph! Murong Yu's heart was filled with anger as he executed the 10,000 gene elephant step. In an instant, he stood firmly in the mine's underground. No matter how the torrent hit him, he remained unmoved. At this moment, Murong Yu finally had the time to look at the torrent. When he saw it, his face revealed a look of surprise. This was because he saw that the torrent was not so much a torrent, but a fresh blood. This was a torrent formed by the condensation of fresh blood. With a thought, a force was released, and a torrent of water was swept over. Then, a pungent smell of blood wafted over. It's really fresh blood? Murong Yu had a strange look on his face. Why would there be fresh blood in this mine? Brother Murong, there is a torrent of fresh blood in the mine. As for how it formed, we don't know. We actually encountered a torrent of fresh blood. It's really unfortunate. It turned out that a torrent of fresh blood could suddenly appear in the mine at any time. The torrent of fresh blood appeared extremely strange, and there was no sign at all. Moreover, the way it disappeared was very strange. This was because when they were talking, the torrent of fresh blood that was attacking Murong Yu had disappeared. After the torrent of fresh blood had passed, Murong Yu did not even see any traces of the torrent of fresh blood in the mine. What's the situation? Where did the fresh blood come from? And where are they going? A trace of doubt flashed through Murong Yu's mind. Brother Murong, the torrent of fresh blood that we encountered should be the weakest, and it should not be very powerful. Legend has it that there are some extremely terrifying torrents of fresh blood in the depths of the mine. Those torrents could even easily kill a peerless stage expert. Even a divine grade expert would have to flee in panic when he sees them. However, if such a torrent of fresh blood appears, it means that the mine contains a large amount of blood crystals. The more terrifying the torrent of fresh blood is, the higher the grade of the blood crystals. Mr. Murong, the mine that we're in now should have a lot of blood crystals. We've made a fortune, Yen Lai said with a smile. Murong Yu nodded because he had already seen the blood crystals that were shining with a demonic red light in the mine in front of them. Pieces of blood crystals, like stars in the night sky, filled the entire mine. Gu Kai and the rest were overjoyed, and they quickly rushed forward. Don't move. However, just as they were about to collect the blood crystals, an angry roar was heard from behind. Chapter 1097. Get out of my way! Gu Kai and the rest had just entered the mine with the blood crystals. Before they could even pick up a blood crystal, an angry roar came from behind them. Then, a group of dozens of people walked over with a murderous aura. They were led by a young man who was even taller than Gu Kai. Before he even arrived, an incomparably powerful and suffocating aura emanated from his body, suppressing over. When he saw this person, Murong Yu's pupils abruptly shrank. This was because he saw that this person's physical body was the same as his. They were both at the level of a supreme artifact. This was the first time Murong Yu had met someone who was at the same level as him. At that moment, a trace of excitement rose in Murong Yu's heart. This was the excitement of meeting a worthy opponent. Get out of my way. Do you want me to treat you? The leader of the group, whose physical body was at the level of a supreme artifact, looked at Murong Yu and the rest with a frown. His eyes were filled with displeasure. Let's just kill them. Who knows how many blood crystals have been stolen by them? They deserve to die. A young man walked out and said indifferently to Murong Yu and the rest. Gu Kai and the rest were furious. They were the ones who found the blood crystals first. How could these people accuse them of stealing? In this mine, the blood crystals belonged to whoever found them. Did these people think that the mine belonged to them? However, although Gu Kai and the rest were furious, they were not idiots. These dozens of people were all very powerful. They were all supreme-grade experts. The leader of the group was at the level of a supreme artifact realm. He was really powerful. This was an extremely powerful tribe, far more powerful than the Wild Billow tribe. Shouldn't you be the ones who should get out of my way? Murong Yu smiled and took a step forward. He looked at the newcomers calmly. Who do you think you are? We, the Wind Cloud tribe, will do whatever we say. If you don't leave, all of you will stay here. Another young man from the Wind Cloud tribe walked out and looked coldly at Murong Yu. Gu Kai and the rest were shocked. Murong Yu did not know what level of existence the Fengyan tribe was, but they did. That so-called Violent Billows tribe was nothing in front of the Wind Cloud tribe. Even in the desolate world, the Wind Cloud tribe was considered a superpower. Legend had it that there were many peerless grades in their tribe. It was even rumored that there was a divine heavenly sovereign in their tribe. Holy level. That was the most powerful realm in the desolate world. There weren't many of them in the entire desolate world. In an instant, Gu Kai and the others felt the urge to retreat. Murong Yu was strong, but was he a match for the Fengyan tribe? Even if he could defeat these people, what about the Windcloud tribe? Moreover, Murong Yu was not from this world. He would eventually leave this world. Once he left, what would Gu Kai and the others use to resist the Windcloud tribe? Big brother Murong, let's leave. Although Gu Kai was unwilling, he still went forward and said to Murong Yu. He was really unwilling to provoke the Windcloud tribe. Get lost! Another youth from the Windcloud tribe shouted coldly. Murong Yu's brows slightly wrinkled as a trace of chilling killing intent flashed between his brows. Kid, I can feel a murderous intent from you. I'm a person who hates trouble the most. In order to prevent you from finding trouble with me in the future, I can only get rid of you today and nip the problem in the bud. All of you can go to hell. The leading youth took a step forward. In a flash, he appeared in front of Murong Yu. Then, he threw a punch at Murong Yu's head. I hate trouble too. So, all of you will die here today. What Windcloud tribe? Others might be afraid of you, but I'm not. As he spoke, Murong Yu also threw a punch. Boom! The two divine fists collided violently in the void, erupting with an earth-shattering boom. An extremely terrifying shockwave swept out in all directions from where the two fists collided. Chi! Like a piece of cloth being torn apart, the void around the fist was torn apart. Seeing this, Gu Kai and the people from the Wind Cloud tribe were shocked. With a thought, they quickly retreated. They knew what it meant to have the power to tear apart the void. Moreover, they also knew what it meant to be sucked into the void. Death. Brother Murong is so powerful. Seeing this, Gu Kai's eyes were filled with envy. One day, I'll be able to reach Brother Murong's level. Not long after, Gu Kai growled in his heart and made up his mind. Good kid, you're actually in the peerless stage. I've underestimated you. However, I've yet to kill a peerless expert after reaching the peerless stage. You may be the first person to do so, but you're definitely not the first. Jiang Huang laughed heartily. He took a step forward and threw another punch at Murong Yu. You'll be the first peerless stage expert I've killed. Murong Yu growled and took a step forward as well. He threw a punch at Jiang Huang. Peerless stage. Brother Murong was in the peerless stage. Gu Kai and the others were shocked. They knew that Murong Yu was powerful, but they always thought that he was only in the peerless stage. A peerless stage expert was considered a top expert in the deserted world. After all, there were too few divine stage experts. There were almost none. Even Brother Murong Yu, who is in the peerless stage, is helping us. Gu Kai and the others were excited and touched at the same time. This was because peerless stage experts were usually superior. Not to mention helping Sunny Creek Village, they wouldn't even bother to look at them. Boom! After an earth-shattering explosion, Murong Yu's and Jiang Huang's fists collided again. The void was torn apart a little more. On the other hand, Jiang Huang's entire body was shaken to the point of retreating. On the other hand, Murong Yu didn't move at all. He was like a sacred mountain standing on the ground. It was obvious who was stronger. Although your cultivation level is high, the gap between us is too big. Since it wasn't easy for you to cultivate, hurry up and scram. After his second attack, Murong Yu sent Jiang Huang flying with a single punch. Go to hell. Murong Yu's words stopped in Jiang Huang's ears. Jiang Huang felt that Murong Yu was insulting him. Hence, he roared and charged forward again. Murong Yu shook his head and threw Jiang Huang out with the elephant-pulling fist. However, he didn't show mercy this time. A powerful force gushed out and broke Jiang Huang's arms. The gap was too big. Murong Yu shook his head. Although both of them were in the peerless god realm, there were different grades. However, Murong Yu's physical body was the strongest in the peerless god realm. On the other hand, Jiang Huang had just entered the peerless god realm. Take all these blood crystals. Take as many as you can, Murong Yu said to Gu Kai and the rest, who were stunned. Gu Kai and the rest were overjoyed and quickly went to collect the blood crystals. However, the people of the Fengyan tribe looked at Murong Yu with complicated expressions. Jiang Huang glared at Murong Yu with a venomous expression. Murong Yu frowned when he felt Jiang Huang's gaze. A chilling murderous intent flashed across his face. The murderous intent was subtle, but Jiang Huang caught it. Suddenly, Jiang Huang's heart was enveloped by an intense aura of death. An intense murderous intent. Jiang Huang knew that if he did not leave, Murong Yu might really kill him. Immediately, he shouted coldly and fled with the people of the Fengyan tribe. Murong Yu shook his head. This was not his style. If he was in the realm of the gods, he would definitely kill someone like Jiang Huang with a punch. However, he was restrained here because of Gu Kai and the rest. He could not act freely. Although he was not afraid of the Fengyan tribe, he could kill Jiang Huang. However, once he left, the people of Sunny Creek Village would take revenge. In that case, he would implicate Gu Kai and the rest. Looking at Gu Kai and the rest who were happily collecting the blood crystals, Murong Yu made a decision. After a long time, all the blood crystals were collected by Gu Kai and the rest. Big brother Murong, there are tens of thousands of these blood crystals. As he spoke, Gu Kai handed over the storage ring containing the blood crystals to Murong Yu. Tens of thousands of blood crystals. This was definitely an astronomical amount of wealth for Sunny Creek Village. It could nurture many experts in Sunny Creek Village. Murong Yu did not take the storage ring. Instead, he said in a deep voice, "Take these blood crystals and go back quickly." Gu Kai and the rest were shocked. They looked at Murong Yu in confusion. Tens of thousands of blood crystals is enough for you to develop Sunny Creek Village. In the mine, you are too weak. Moreover, I can't act freely. Gu Kai and the rest immediately understood that they had become Murong Yu's burden. Brother Murong, will you return to Sunny Creek Village after a year? Gu Kai asked in a deep voice. Murong Yu nodded. You only have a year to think about it. After I leave the blood crystal mine, I will go to Sunny Creek Village immediately. Okay. Then I will wait for Brother Murong in Sunny Creek Village, Gu Kai said in a deep voice. Then, he left with Yen Lai and the rest. There was no hesitation. Tens of thousands of blood crystals were Murong Yu's burden. No matter what the reason was, it was enough for them to leave the blood crystal mine. Gu Kai, should we stay and continue to look for more blood crystals? Yen Lai asked excitedly on the way. Tens of thousands of blood crystals was the most he had ever seen. Gu Kai shook his head. With our strength, even if we find more blood crystals, they will be snatched by others in the end. Let's go back to Sunny Creek Village first. These blood crystals are enough for us to develop. Seeing Gu Kai and the others disappear from his sight, Murong Yu also moved and quickly flew towards the depths of the mine. Chapter 1098. Several tens of thousands of blood crystals. Even if they were all of the lowest grade, it was still a huge fortune for Murong Yu. Murong Yu estimated that even if the blood crystals did not allow him to break through his cultivation level, they would not allow his body to break through to the divine artifact realm. However, they would definitely make him stronger. Even so, Murong Yu did not want a single blood crystal. It was not that he disdained the blood crystals. In fact, they were his gifts to Sunny Creek Village. He knew that he would be able to obtain more blood crystals in the blood crystal mine. However, what made Murong Yu depressed was that for a long time, he only obtained a few blood crystals here and there. All of them were of the lowest grade, and there were less than 1,000 of them. This made Murong Yu depressed for a long time. Moreover, he met many people in the process. However, there were not many peerless grade experts. There were no divine heavenly sovereigns at all. The mine was simply too big. Murong Yu went through many forks. There was no end to these forks, and there were always more forks. It was like a maze with no end. If they were not gods and had a photographic memory, they would not have been able to enter the mine. Otherwise, they would not have been able to find their way in. Even so, some people would make signs at the forks in case they could not get out. If they got lost in the mine, they would basically die. Thump, thump, thump. Suddenly, a loud and dull sound came from the front. It was like the sound of a heartbeat, but it was much stronger than a normal heartbeat. Murong Yu stopped and his expression changed slightly. This was because the frequency of the loud sound was the same as the frequency of his heartbeat. It made his heart beat faster, and it felt like it was going to explode. It was very uncomfortable. Even the Godhead hidden in his heart was shaken, and it felt like it was going to be destroyed. With a thought, Murong Yu's heart stopped beating immediately. Even in the cultivation world, his heart could stop beating. However, a deity's Godhead was located in their heart. Once the heart stopped beating, the Godhood would lose its effect. As a result, Murong Yu's heart stopped beating for a moment, and his spatial Godhead also stopped beating. Fortunately, other than the spatial Godhead, Murong Yu still had the lightning divinity and the primal chaos god lattice. Therefore, the spatial quintessence strike didn't affect him much. What is this loud noise? Murong Yu pondered in his heart as he followed the sound and entered a side path. As soon as he entered the fork, Murong Yu discovered that waves of shock waves were coming from afar, accompanied by loud bangs. The terrifying shock waves shook the void, causing layers of ripples to appear. Murong Yu's face froze, if not for the fact that he had stopped his heart from beating before entering this place. Otherwise, his heart would definitely explode at the first moment. An expert with a peerless grade god artifact level body actually had his heart exploded from a shock wave. If this news spread, a large group of people would laugh themselves to death. However, Murong Yu didn't find it funny. Because in this fork, he saw a few corpses lying haphazardly in front of him. These people's hearts and even their godheads had all exploded. Apart from that, even their souls had been destroyed. How could his soul be destroyed? A grave expression flashed across Murong Yu's face. Hearts and godheads exploding, this was still within Murong Yu's scope of understanding. But souls? The shockwave here didn't directly resonate with souls. That's right, although the bodies of the people in the desolate world are very strong, their souls still need to be protected by their power. Once their godhead is destroyed, they won't have any power left. This way, their souls will be completely exposed to the shockwave, and they will be easily killed by the shockwave. Murong Yu thought about it and understood. Apart from that, Murong Yu also realized that the mine he was in was a few times bigger than the other mines. There must be a reason for this abnormality. This place was different, so there must be something special. Murong Yu thought and immediately flew up quickly. Just like that, Murong Yu had flown for an unknown number of miles. The deeper he went, the louder the banging sound became. In the end, it even resonated with Murong Yu's entire body. On the way, Murong Yu saw more corpses. These people either died from the explosion of their hearts or their godheads, or their entire bodies simply exploded. They were all killed by the loud banging sound. Swoosh! All of a sudden, a shadow shot from the front. It was extremely fast, and in an instant, it was in front of Murong Yu. A cold light flashed past Murong Yu's eyebrows. He stretched out his hand and grabbed the shadow. Another high-grade blood crystal? A smile appeared on Murong Yu's face. He didn't know when it started, but the mine had started spitting out blood crystals of various grades. There were low-grade, middle-grade, and upper-grade blood crystals. Moreover, Murong Yu even obtained a few supreme-grade blood crystals. The supreme-grade divine crystals contained terrifying power. Although there were only a few of them, their value had completely surpassed the tens of thousands of low-grade blood crystals that Gu Kai had obtained. In actual fact, the low-grade divine crystals were almost useless to him. He continued to move forward. He collected a few more divine crystals, and one of them was a supreme-grade divine crystal. Finally, Murong Yu's eyes widened, and a huge space appeared in front of him. Within a radius of 100 million miles, besides the fork that Murong Yu was at, Murong Yu didn't see any other forks. However, in the middle of the space there was a huge pool of blood that was millions of miles wide. However, other than Murong Yu, there were already tens of thousands of people around the pool. All of them were staring at the pool, and no one knew what they were doing. When they saw Murong Yu coming over, they only glanced at him indifferently, then focused on the pool of blood again. Swoosh! An illusory figure suddenly shot out from the lake of blood and shot outside. Murong Yu finally understood why these people were here. He finally knew where the blood crystals that had shot out had come from. The pool of blood was shooting out blood crystals, and these people were obviously waiting for the blood crystals to come out. Murong Yu's heart stirred and he stretched out his hand. Suddenly, a huge hand formed by energy reached into the pool of blood and grabbed the blood crystal before it could leave the pool. A high-grade blood crystal. When Murong Yu caught the blood crystal, he knew the grade of the blood crystal. Therefore, he threw it into the Hichu Luoshu world without even looking at it. When Murong Yu made his move, the people who surrounded the pool of blood looked at Murong Yu with disdain, as if they were looking at an idiot. No one was fighting for it, and everyone was looking at him like he was an idiot? Murong Yu felt that it was strange. Was he acting like an idiot? At this moment, a person's voice cleared his doubts. Idiot, if you consume energy like this, Let's see how many divine gems you can get. Murong Yu suddenly understood. In the wasteland world, the chi of heaven and earth contained a strong murderous aura, and it was not suitable to absorb it directly. However, the consumption of energy was a few times higher than in the realm of the gods. Therefore, under normal circumstances, no one would waste energy like Murong Yu. Murong Yu sneered in his heart. Who knew that his energy would not be depleted? Xiao! 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 During this time, a few more blood crystals shot out from the pool of blood. However, Murong Yu stretched out his hand and collected all of them into his pouch. More people looked at Murong Yu as if he was an idiot, but still, no one tried to snatch them. Because they all felt that Murong Yu could not continue like this. However, the pool of blood kept shooting out blood crystals. There were so many of them. This idiot's heart is not beating, and his godhead is also sealed. How can he still exert energy? In the end, someone still suspected Murong Yu. Maybe his godhead is not in his heart at all, someone answered. If it's not in his heart, then where is it? Are you kidding me? Someone laughed out loud. He didn't think that what that person said was possible. In fact, what they did not know was that the person was telling the truth. Supreme-grade divine gems are very rare, and I have never seen divine gems or even saint-grade blood crystals. Why can this pool of blood shoot out blood crystals? Is there a large amount of blood crystals buried at the bottom of the pool? If that is the case, can't we just go down and collect them? Murong Yu looked at the pool of blood and could not help but frown. However, he did not go down rashly. Because many people knew that there might be a large amount of blood crystals in the pool of blood, but why did no one go down? There must be great danger in the pool of blood. However, what exactly was the danger in there? Murong Yu did not know and wanted to ask these people, right? They all looked at him as if he was an idiot, so why would they tell him the truth? Should I go down and take a look? Murong Yu thought to himself. I can still enter Hichu Luoshu and teleport between the deserted world. If I encounter any danger, I can just enter Hichu Luoshu. You can't get the tiger cub without entering the tiger's den. I only have 1 year. I must try my best to get as many blood crystals as possible. If I stay here, how can I get more blood crystals? After pondering for a long time, Murong Yu finally walked toward the pool of blood. What is that idiot going to do? Don't tell me he is going to go down the pool of blood? When they saw Murong Yu's actions, everyone's gazes focused on him. In the blood crystal mine, the most dangerous place is the blood lake. You must not go down or you will die. This has been a legend since ancient times. Moreover, over the countless years, there have always been many reckless people who entered the blood lake, but in the end, no one survived. Many people discussed, and their expressions became even more disdainful. Chapter 1099. Although Murong Yu didn't stop talking, his face had turned serious as he listened to the crowd's discussions. Finally, he stopped at the edge of the blood lake. The blood lake was a huge lake formed by the condensation of fresh blood. Standing at the edge of the blood lake, even though Murong Yu had closed all the pores on his body, the smell of blood still seeped into his body. Unlike ordinary blood, the smell of blood was not only extremely strong, but also extremely smelly. It also contained a terrifying murderous aura. Ordinary people could not get close to the murderous aura. Otherwise, they would be invaded by the murderous aura. If they did not explode and die, their minds would be changed, and they would become a murderous maniac. Murong Yu didn't rashly dive into the blood lake. Instead, he stretched out his hand and grabbed at the blood lake. Boom! As he reached out his hand, a huge amount of blood was caught in his hand. Thump, thump, thump within the blood, it was beating like a heart. Waves of energy were transmitted continuously, causing Murong Yu's hand to tremble. An extremely powerful murderous aura gushed out from the blood and attacked Murong Yu's hand along his hand. With a thought, the murderous aura was dispersed by him. Soon after, Murong Yu loosened his grip and the blood fell to the ground, disappearing without a trace. It should be fine. Apart from the power and murderous aura, my physical body should be able to withstand it. Murong Yu muttered to himself. At the same time, he took out Hichu Luoshu and the yin-yang cauldron. Of course, all of this was done discreetly. This idiot doesn't dare to go down, right? While Murong Yu was observing the blood lake, everyone's attention was on him. He has already heard our discussion clearly. If he still dares to go down, he's courting death. Someone said disdainfully. Splash, however, before he could finish his sentence, there was a splash in the blood lake. However, Murong Yu had already disappeared from the blood lake. He actually went down? In an instant, everyone was stunned. This idiot really wants to die. Many people sneered in disdain. When do you think he'll be scared out of his wits? Or can we come out alive? Someone immediately asked the person beside him. Aren't you spouting nonsense? It was said that no one who had entered the blood lake had ever come out. Is he an exception? Someone immediately said disdainfully. Bang, bang, bang. While this person was speaking, the blood lake that Murong Yu had fallen into was constantly churning with waves of blood. Waves of powerful energy fluctuations were constantly being emitted. What's the situation? Seeing the phenomenon, everyone looked over and exchanged glances with one another. They were all very curious about what was happening in the blood lake. However, not only was their vision obstructed, their spiritual will was also unable to probe into the blood lake. Therefore, they could only look at the churning blood lake, unaware of what was happening. Despite their curiosity, none of them dared to approach the blood lake. What did Murong Yu encounter? Just a moment ago, he directly jumped into the blood lake. However, before he could sink to the bottom, a strong and dangerous aura quickly approached from the front. When he opened his eyes, he saw an extremely ugly giant monster pouncing at him at high speed. The monster was extremely large, about 100 meters tall. It had two extremely large ears on its head that hung on its face like cattail leaf fans. Its eyes were huge, its nostrils pointed to the sky, and its bloody mouth. Its body was more like a ball with short limbs supporting it. Its tail was extremely long, like an ox's tail, but it was much uglier. It was unknown whether it was because it was in the blood lake, or because of the monster itself. The monster's body seemed to be covered with some kind of mucus, which looked extremely disgusting. Furthermore, when the monster pounced over, an incomparably foul smell assailed their nostrils. Even if Murong Yu closed his breathing and all the pores on his body, it was useless. When the stench came, Murong Yu even had the urge to faint from the stench. What is this? Murong Yu was instantly enraged. He was not angry because the monster wanted to ambush him, but because the monster was too ugly and disgusting. That was why he was angry. Immediately, he threw out a punch. Suddenly, a giant hand of power condensed in an instant, erupting with a terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth. The punch blasted the blood lake, causing blood to splatter into the sky. It quickly rushed towards the monster. The monster was extremely fast, but Murong Yu was even faster. Before it could get close, Murong Yu's giant hand of power had already punched the monster's body. Boom! After an earth-shattering explosion, the monster let out a loud, muffled sound and was sent flying. The shock wave formed by the attack instantly swept out in all directions with the point of impact as the center. Instantly, countless amounts of blood were immediately vaporized by the shock wave. However, even more blood was sent flying in all directions by the shock wave. It was also the scene of the blood lake surging with tens of thousands of waves. Roar! An incomparably loud roar came from the blood lake, and the blood lake erupted with blood waves that soared into the sky. When the sound wave came, layers of ripples appeared in the void. Some of the people who were originally closer to the blood lake were caught off guard and were sent flying. At the same time, The monster that attacked Morong Yu and was sent flying by Morong Yu's punch appeared in front of everyone. Blood Beast. When they saw the Blood Beast, everyone outside the Blood Lake exclaimed at the same time. Their faces turned pale, and their bodies involuntarily retreated. Legend had it that there was only one kind of monster in the Blood Crystal Mine. That was the Blood Beast. The Blood Beast relied on consuming fresh blood and blood crystals to survive. However, it was extremely ferocious and extremely powerful. Ordinary blood beasts had the strength of an upper-grade blood beast. Legend had it that there were even sacred-grade blood beasts in the Blood Crystal Mine, and they were extremely powerful. Moreover, these blood beasts liked to eat humans in addition to consuming fresh blood and blood crystals. Usually, when they encountered people, they would attack, kill them, and then devour them. These blood beasts usually hid in the Blood Crystal Mine, but there were definitely some in the Blood Lake. This was also the reason why these people were unwilling to go into the Blood Lake. Otherwise, everyone would think the same as Morong Yu and go straight into the Blood Lake to search for blood crystals. As the Blood Fiend soared into the sky, Morong Yu's figure also soared into the sky from the Lake of Blood. Then, he flew through the air, crossing an immeasurable distance with a single step and arriving in front of the blood crystal. Go to hell! Morong Yu held the sacred grade artifact, Soul Chaser, in his hand, and a ball of black divine light burst out. The light from the spear enveloped the entire blood beast and pierced it. Roar! The blood beast let out an earth-shattering roar. Puff! Then, the people outside the blood lake saw thousands of wounds on the huge blood beast's body. Streams of oddly smelly blood spurted out from the blood like fountains. Go to hell! Morong Yu stepped in the air and appeared above the blood beast. The long spear in his hand expanded in the wind and instantly became like a pillar supporting the sky. Then, Morong Yu held the spear with both hands and smashed it down on the blood beast. Bang! The blood beast let out an earth-shattering cry of pain. Then, its entire body exploded into two pieces. Rumble! The two pieces of the corpse fell into the blood lake and splashed up a huge wave of blood. However, Morong Yu noticed a bewitching blood-red light flashing from the blood fiend's body. Morong Yu couldn't care less about his disgust. He immediately stretched out his large hand and grabbed the blood fiend's head. What a huge piece of blood crystal! Near the blood fiend's head, there was a fist-sized blood crystal flickering with a bewitching blood-red glow that attracted Morong Yu's attention. It's at least a supreme-grade blood crystal, or even a supreme-grade blood crystal. Morong Yu dug out the blood crystal and was overjoyed. He had seen a lot of blood crystals, but they were only the size of a pinky finger. However, this blood crystal was as big as a fist and its grade was extremely high. This blood beast is at least a supreme-grade blood crystal. Then, the blood crystal in its head that looks like a crystal core should be a supreme-grade blood crystal. Morong Yu had some supreme-grade blood crystals, but they were incomparable to the blood crystal in his hand. However, he had never seen a supreme-grade divine crystal before, so he couldn't come to a conclusion. What a huge piece of blood crystal! When they saw the divine crystal in Morong Yu's hand, the eyes of many experts outside of the blood lake lit up with greed. However, no one dared to make a move. They knew how ferocious Morong Yu was. If they attacked together, they might be able to kill Morong Yu. However, the person who attacked first would definitely be killed by Morong Yu's rod like the blood beast. Swoosh! Just as everyone was hesitating whether to attack, Morong Yu's body flashed and he dashed into the blood lake again. In the blood lake, one's vision was greatly obstructed. Morong Yu could only see a radius of 1 mile. There should be blood crystals in the blood lake, and there should be quite a number of blood fiends. Morong Yu sank to the bottom of the blood lake and began to search for blood crystals. Sure enough, his guess was not wrong. Soon, he saw pieces of blood crystals scattered at the bottom of the lake. There were lower grade, middle grade, upper grade, and even supreme grade blood crystals. Regardless of the grade of the blood crystals, Murong-yu didn't reject any of them. However, what puzzled Murong-yu was that the blood crystals outside were constantly shooting out. How did the blood crystals shoot out? The blood crystals that were scattered at the bottom of the lake seemed to be the ones that no one cared about. There should be a mountain of blood crystals in the blood lake. Murong-yu thought to himself and began to speed up his search at the bottom of the lake. At the same time, many experts outside were eager to enter the blood lake to search for blood crystals. In fact, some of the confident experts had already entered the blood lake. However, was there only one blood beast in the blood lake? Was the baleful aura contained in the blood lake something that everyone could resist? Chapter 1100. Thump, thump, thump. As more and more people entered the blood lake, the murderous aura in the blood lake exploded. Before long, the powerhouses could no longer withstand the murderous aura's invasion and exploded into pieces. Their bodies exploded in the blood lake, and their souls were instantly exposed in the blood lake. Even their bodies could not withstand the pressure, what more their souls. Therefore, once their bodies exploded, their souls were also destroyed at the same time. They died immediately. These were all powerhouses of the lower, middle, and upper grades. Without exception, all of them were killed not long after entering the blood lake. Seeing the powerhouses being killed one by one, the remaining people immediately stopped. Only then did they remember that not everyone could enter the blood lake. They were not Murong-yu and were not as powerful as Murong-yu. Kill. All of a sudden, one of the supreme grade experts in the blood lake roared and rushed to the side of an expert not far from him. He then punched the expert. The powerhouse who was ambushed and the powerhouse who attacked were companions, so he did not expect his companion to ambush him. Therefore, before he could even react, his entire body had already been blasted to death. Kill! After killing this person, the powerhouse attacked another companion. However, this companion had already reacted and retreated when the powerhouse attacked. However, the supreme grade powerhouse's eyes were bloodshot, and his entire body was filled with murderous aura. He locked onto the powerhouse and charged forward again. He's been attacked by the murderous aura, kill him. This person had many companions. At this moment, one of his companions finally reacted and charged forward with a few other companions. How could a crazed supreme-grade powerhouse be a match for others of the same level? Not long after, this person was killed. However, this person was not the only one who was attacked by the murderous aura. Most of those who entered the blood lake were attacked. Some exploded and died, while some did not die but became mindless maniacs who only knew how to kill. Some of these people started killing in the blood lake, while some returned to the lakeside and started killing. There were many powerhouses on the lakeside. Although the thump-thump sound killed many powerhouses, there were many people who came over, and there were even many people of the lower grade. Faced with a supreme-grade powerhouse, no matter if it was the lower or upper grades, they could not fight back at all. In an instant, countless people were killed, and the scene became chaotic. None of this had anything to do with Murong-yu. At this moment, Murong-yu's gaze shot toward the center of the blood lake. In the process, he saw many blood crystals scattered at the bottom of the lake. Regardless of their grades, Murong-yu took all of them. Whoosh! Murong-yu, who was charging forward, suddenly stopped because he saw a blood crystal suddenly shot toward him. At the same time, he saw many blood crystals shooting out in all directions. Presumably, the blood crystals seen outside the blood lake should have been shot out in this manner. What was in the distance? As his vision was obstructed, Murong-yu could not see clearly. However, he was in front of what was most likely the most important part of the blood lake. Immediately, he hid his body in the void and continued to move forward in the blood lake. He was worried that he would encounter more blood fiends. He was not afraid of ordinary blood fiends, but if they were very powerful and there were many of them, it would be more troublesome. As Murong-yu was perfectly in the void, when he walked in the void the water of the blood lake was not affected at all. There were no ripples at all. Blood fiend. Not long after, Morong-yu saw a blood fiend lying on the ground. This blood fiend was similar to the blood fiend he killed before. At this moment, it was lying at the bottom of the lake and did not notice Morong-yu's arrival. Morong-yu resisted the urge to kill it and dig out the blood crystals in its body, and continued to move forward. Not long after, he encountered a second blood fiend, then a third, a fourth. It's a nest of blood fiends. Morong-yu, who was hiding in the void, was shocked. How far had he walked? He had already encountered more than 10 blood fiends. Each of them had a different level of strength, and he even saw a blood fiend of the supreme level. At the same time, Morong-yu also saw his current location. It was an existence similar to a valley. If it was not at the bottom of the lake, the surrounding mountains would be considered high mountains. Morong-yu also realized that he had followed the valley all the way here. The blood fiends seemed to be guarding the valley. What's in the deep valley? Morong-yu thought to himself as he moved forward quickly. Along the way, he had encountered more than 10 blood fiends. The deeper he went into the valley, the stronger the blood fiends were. In the end, Morong-yu even saw blood fiends of the supreme level. There must be something deep in the valley. Morong-yu was pleasantly surprised, but his movements became more and more careful. There were so many blood fiends in the valley. If they were alerted, Morong-yu would definitely be in trouble. This is a blood crystal? Morong-yu suddenly stopped in his tracks, his eyes wide open as he looked ahead. Unlike the blood lake, which was filled with blood and severely obstructed his vision, Morong-yu's so-called positional vision was not so obstructed. In front of him, there was a humongous blood-red, almost transparent blood crystal that was like a small hill quietly standing on the ground. It was a few miles long and wide and a few miles tall. Is this really a blood crystal? Morong-yu, who was hiding in the void, could not help but exclaim. Under normal circumstances, a blood crystal would not emit such a huge amount of power and killing intent. However, Morong-yu could feel a huge amount of pure power and killing intent emitting from the humongous blood crystal. Is it a supreme level or a holy level? Looking at the humongous blood crystal, Morong-yu could not help but feel excited. However, in addition to his excitement, he was even more careful in concealing his aura. This was because there were dozens of blood fiends of the supreme level lying beside the humongous blood crystal. They seemed to be absorbing the power and killing intent emitted from the blood crystal to cultivate. In addition to the blood fiends of the supreme level that Morong-yu had encountered previously, there were about 40 to 50 supreme level blood fiends in the valley. Once so many demonic beasts were alerted, even Morong-yu would have no choice but to flee. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Not far from the humongous blood crystal, pieces of blood crystals were constantly being ejected. However, the blood crystals that were sprayed out into the distance were usually sprayed around the valley. On the way here, Morong-yu did not see many blood crystals on the ground. They must have been eaten by the blood fiends. The blood crystals were ejected from a humongous deep hole. Morong-yu went closer and saw that the deep hole was like a spring. A huge amount of blood was gushing out from it to replenish the blood lake. The blood crystals were mixed with the blood and sprayed out. According to Morong-yu's observation, the blood that gushed out was like a huge river. However, the blood lake did not flow to other rivers. Why did the blood lake not increase its water level? Could it be the blood torrent that appeared out of nowhere? Morong-yu thought to himself. What was blood gushing out like a spring? It was only when Morong-yu saw the deep hole that he finally understood the meaning of those words. Could it be that the blood crystals are ejected from the spring? What's in the depths of the spring? Could it really be the power of the blood crystals? Morong-yu had the urge to go in and take a look. However, before he could get close to the mouth of the spring, an extremely powerful force pushed against his body, almost pushing him out of the void. Morong-yu was slightly startled. Just a moment ago, he'd almost fallen out of the void. Once he appeared here, the blood fiends would definitely notice him. Can I really not go in? Murong-yu tried a few times, but before he could get close, he was pushed away by the strong force. This made him a little depressed. After trying a few more times, he could only fix his gaze on the blood crystal that was as big as a small mountain. I wonder if Hichu Luoshu can collect this blood crystal immediately? Murong-yu stood above the blood crystal and looked down at it. He was deep in thought. If there were no special circumstances, Hichu Luoshu could definitely collect it. However, if it was like the spring, he only had a split second to collect it. Otherwise, the blood fiends would be alerted. Let's give it a try. Murong-yu decided to give it a try in the end. If he could get this blood crystal, it would be better than seeing dozens of ordinary blood crystals. Hichu, I'm counting on you. Murong-yu had an idea and immediately took out Hichu Luoshu. As soon as Hichu Luoshu appeared, it expanded rapidly. In an instant it grew to the size of a small mountain. Then, under the joint control of Murong-yu and Hichu, it shrouded the blood crystal with a swoosh. The moment Hichu Luoshu appeared, dozens of blood fiends in the divine level surrounding the huge crystal were alerted. They opened their eyes immediately and stretched out their huge claws to attack Hichu Luoshu. Hichu Luoshu! Collect! 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 Murong-yu roared in his heart. He even started to burn his chaotic divine meridians to increase the power of Hichu Luoshu to the maximum. A huge suction force instantly enveloped the huge blood crystal. At the same time, Hichu Luoshu covered the blood crystal. Rumble! The blood crystal trembled violently. At this moment, dozens of blood fiends in the divine level were about to attack Hichu Luoshu. Chapter 1101. Whoosh! Under the full control of Murong-yu and He-Tu, the moment the He-Tu and the Book of the Luo covered the hill-sized blood crystal, it was sucked into the world of the He-Tu and the Book of the Luo. Immediately, the Hichu Luoshu shrunk rapidly. However, even though Murong-yu was extremely fast, the attacks of the peerless blood fiends that were near the blood crystal were not slow either. As the Hichu Luoshu shrunk rapidly, their attacks came down rapidly. Bang! 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 Terrifying forces bombarded the Hichu Luoshu continuously, causing the space around it to shatter. The terrifying forces bombarded the Hichu Luoshu. Fortunately, the Hichu Luoshu's grade was extremely high and was not something that the peerless blood fiends could destroy. However, the damage from the attacks continued to hit Murong-yu's body. Puff! Murong-yu's body was forced out of the void and blood spurted out of his mouth. Roar! When they noticed Murong-yu appearing out of thin air, a few of the blood fiends immediately launched their strongest attacks at Murong-yu. Murong-yu's heart was filled with shock. The life force in his body frantically cleansed his body, repairing his injuries. At the same time, he spread his angel's wings and rushed towards the sky above the blood lake. Dozens of peerless blood fiends. He was no match for them. When Murong-yu rushed towards the sky, the Hichu Luoshu had turned into an almost invisible particle. It pierced through the void and rushed into Murong-yu's body. At this moment, Murong-yu was about to enter the Hichu Luoshu world. However, after thinking about it, he decided against it. The space here was shattered by the attacks of the blood fiends. It would be a tragedy if he rushed into the turbulent space. Roar! 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 The blood fiends in the entire valley, and even the entire blood lake, were alarmed. They let out earth-shattering roars and rushed towards Murong-yu at the same time. They had no intention of fighting. They just rushed towards the sky at their fastest speed. Because this was the deserted world, although the blood fiends had strong bodies, their cultivation was not very high. Hence, long-range attacks were useless against Murong-yu. As such, the blood fiends could only soar into the air and chase after Murong-yu. Whoosh! Murong-yu broke through the air, causing the blood waves to soar tens of thousands of feet high. Following closely behind him were the dozens of unparalleled blood fiends, and even more blood fiends. What's going on? When they saw this scene, the people outside and in the blood lake were stunned. They did not know what had happened. In fact, when the countless blood fiends roared, these people were already scared out of their wit. At this moment, all of them were so scared that their faces were drained of blood. In fact, some timid ones even spread their bodies and quickly rushed towards the back. "Run, the blood fiends have gone crazy." While flying, Morongyu suddenly shouted. Then, his angel wings flapped rapidly, and he immediately turned into a stream of light and flew towards the fork he came from. That huge blood crystal was obviously extremely important to the blood fiends in the blood lake, because Su Hao discovered that there were already more than 100 blood fiends chasing after him. These blood fiends were all extremely violent, their murderous auras soaring into the sky. The moment they appeared, they no longer just chased after Morongyu. Instead, they locked onto the others and pounced towards them. Although he didn't have a good impression of these people. But these blood fiends were lured out by him after all. If all these people were killed, it would be his sin. Thus, as he fled, he roared loudly to warn the others. As for whether these people escaped or not, or whether they could escape, it was none of his business. In fact, when these blood fiends went berserk, many people had already escaped. However, there were more people who hadn't reacted yet. Moreover, those blood fiends didn't hesitate to consume their strength to fly. In an instant, countless people were killed. Before these people died, they couldn't help but curse, "Morongyu, you idiot." Of course, the premise was that they knew Morongyu's name. Morongyu's speed was extremely fast, especially after leaving the blood lake. With a flap of his angel wings, he rushed into the mine. Then, with another flap, he had already disappeared into the distance. In fact, Morongyu had entered the Hichu Luoshu world. No matter where it was, as long as one entered Hichu Luoshu, it was the safest. Without Morongyu's trace, those blood fiends immediately became even more violent. One by one, they roared and began to slaughter the others crazily. Because there was only one exit from the blood lake. When more than 10 peerless grade blood fiends blocked the passage, the experts who were still near the blood lake wanted to cry but had no tears. Unable to leave this place, unable to escape, they could only fight it out. Therefore, a life and death battle broke out. However, although there were many experts in the human race, there were very few peerless grade experts. Therefore, although they killed many blood fiends in the process, they were all slaughtered in the end. But even after all these people were slaughtered, the blood fiends were still furious. It was because of Morongyu, and because of the blood crystal that was the size of a small mountain. That blood crystal was extremely precious even to the blood fiends. In the end, the infuriated blood fiends roared and left the blood lake. They rushed out along the passage, looking for Morongyu. The large-scale mobilization of the blood fiends had resulted in even more deaths for the people in the mine. What Morongyu didn't know was that the blood fiends' riot that he had unintentionally caused this time was actually, regarding this, Morongyu was completely unaware. He was studying the blood crystal in the Hichu Luoshu world. Morongyu walked around the blood crystal a few times before asking, "Hichu, do you think this blood crystal is a sacred grade blood crystal?" He couldn't determine the grade of this blood crystal. It's very likely to be a sacred grade blood crystal. Otherwise, it's one of the best among the peerless grade blood crystals. Those blood fiends treated it so seriously. This blood crystal isn't simple. Hichu sized up the blood crystal and said in a deep voice. Morongyu nodded and placed his hands on the blood crystal. Thump, thump, thump. Just as he placed his hands on the blood crystal, he felt the blood crystal beating like a huge heart, making rhythmic sound. It was similar to the sound that he heard at the blood lake. At the same time, an extremely powerful force and evil aura surged out of his body and rushed into Morongyu's body through his hands. Whoosh! In an instant, apart from the spiritual space, Murong Yu's entire body was invaded by the terrifying evil aura. Murong Yu's heart skipped a beat. At that moment, he realized that his body was being controlled by a force. Murong Yu suddenly felt that his body was no longer his. His entire body was filled with evil aura and tyrannical aura. He only wanted to kill. Humph! How dare you control my body in my territory? Murong Yu sneered inwardly. With a thought, he shifted the hill-sized blood crystal away, separating it from his hand that was in contact with it. At the same time, the power of Murong Yu's three godheads erupted at the same time. His strength instantly soared to the peak Archean god realm. The berserk power surged up and was instantly expelled by the baleful aura that invaded his body. In Hichu Luoshu, Murong Yu's cultivation realm wasn't suppressed. However, although Murong Yu managed to expel the fiendish aura, he was still shocked. If it wasn't for the fact that he was in Hichu Luoshu, he would have been invaded by the evil aura in the blood crystal and become a mindless monster that only knew how to kill. This is definitely a holy grade blood crystal. However, the evil aura in it is too terrifying. I can't use it at all. Murong Yu thought to himself. However, why is there a heartbeat in the blood crystal? Also, why would the evil aura control a person's body? It's as if someone is controlling the evil aura to control the body. Murong Yu frowned and thought to himself. Could it be? Murong Yu suddenly thought of a possibility. If that's really the case. Murong Yu instantly broke out in a cold sweat from fright. The deserted world, the blood crystal mine, the blood lake, the fresh blood, the blood crystal. Everything that Murong Yu encountered confirmed his speculation. However, he wasn't 100% sure about his speculation. Once I'm sure, I'll have to find a way to destroy it. Otherwise, it'll be a disaster for the world. Murong Yu pondered. He stepped out of the Hichu Luoshu and quickly left the fork. After leaving the fork, Murong Yu entered another fork. While he was looking for the blood crystals, he had another task. He had to find the end of the blood crystal mine. Only when he reached the end could he verify his speculation. There were battles everywhere. As he went deeper, the people from different tribes started to fight for the blood crystals. Along the way, Murong Yu saw quite a few corpses. He also saw quite a few experts fighting each other. Murong Yu didn't stop at any place where there were people because there wouldn't be any blood crystals left for him. Murong Yu had just rushed into a fork in the road, but he quickly came out. This was because he seemed to have caught a glimpse of someone he knew. In another fork, a woman was surrounded by more than 10 experts who kept attacking her. Her body movement was amazing and her combat skills were powerful. However, it couldn't make up for her low realm and weak body. Although he was still able to resist the attacks of those people for the time being, he was suppressed and had nowhere to run. If this went on, she would be killed sooner or later. Yang Qin. Murong Yu frowned and his face turned gloomy. The woman who was besieged was rank 10 quasi-saint Yang Qin. She was a super expert who came to the deserted world after Murong Yu. However, she didn't meet Murong Yu again. Chapter 1102. Yang Qin's physical body must have been tempered with blood crystals. It had already reached the level of a low-grade divine artifact. However, in the desolate world, a low-grade divine artifact-level physical body was just a standard configuration. Apart from a few exceptions, most people had a physical body of this level. Just like a god in the divine world. Yang Qin's opponents, on the other hand, were a group of superior-grade experts. If Yang Qin was from the deserted world, there would be no need for so many upper-realm cultivators. Any middle-realm cultivator would be able to kill her. However, Yang Qin was a rank 10 quasi-saint. Although her strength was suppressed to the heaven god realm after entering the desolate world, she did not lose her battle skills, battle experience, and movement technique. Therefore, she could deal with these people for a long time. However, once her strength was exhausted, it would be the moment of her death. Seeing this, Murong Yu's face darkened. He was an extremely protective person. Seeing his own people being bullied, he was already filled with killing intent. Immediately, he walked over in large strides. You dare to touch my people? You're simply courting death. You're courting death, Murong Yu said in a deep voice as he strode over. Hearing this voice, everyone, including Yang Qin, was shocked. However, although both sides were shocked, it was the same thing. After those people heard Murong Yu's words, they only thought that a powerhouse had come. Therefore, they all looked at Murong Yu with vigilance. However, Yang Qin was worried and shocked, because she knew Murong Yu's strength. When they were outside, Murong Yu was only a heavenly emperor. Wouldn't his strength be even weaker here? When she saw Murong Yu, she immediately said, "Holy Lord, leave quickly. Don't worry about me. Yang Qin, perhaps I'm not your match outside. But in the desolate world, they're just trash. Killing them is as easy as flipping my hand." Before his voice fell, Murong Yu's figure flickered and disappeared. The moment Murong Yu disappeared, one of the upper stage powerhouses who was besieging Yang Qin was suddenly enveloped by an extremely strong aura of death. Immediately, he was shocked and wanted to retreat immediately. However, it was already too late. Boom! After a dull loud sound, the upper stage powerhouse did not even know what hit him. His entire body had already exploded. The powerful force instantly annihilated his soul. At the same time that this expert was blasted apart by Murong Yu's punch, the other expert beside him also felt an intense aura of death. Murong Yu took a step forward and came to his side. Then, he slapped him. The expert was horrified. When he realized that all his escape routes had been sealed, he immediately roared and gathered all his strength into his fist. His fist soared into the sky, fiercely smashing towards Murong Yu's palm that was slapping down. However, how could the upper stage be compared with the absolute stage? With a poof, the man's fist was blasted into powder. However, Murong Yu's palm did not stop at all. It was still slapping down rapidly. Poof, poof, poof. After a series of sounds, the upper stage powerhouse's hands were constantly being destroyed. In the end, Murong Yu's palm pressed against his body. A terrifying force exploded in an instant. Suddenly, the upper stage powerhouse's entire body was blasted into a cloud of blood mist. In the blink of an eye, 2 experts were killed. "You're all going to die," Murong Yu said faintly. Then, he appeared in front of the third person in an instant. The invincible divine fist smashed the opponent's head and soul space before he could react. Bang! 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 Murong Yu did not show any mercy. Instead, he unleashed his strongest attack, one punch after another. Yang Qin was stunned. She could only see Murong Yu's body flashing continuously. And with every flash, those who were about to kill her would be smashed by Murong Yu like sandbags. In just a few breaths' time, those people were all killed. Seeing Murong Yu killing the last enemy, Yang Qin could not help but ask in shock, "Holy Master, what realm has your physical body reached?" "Absolute stage," Murong Yu said faintly. There was no need for him to hide it. Absolute stage? Yang Qin suddenly felt a little dizzy. How could there be such a high existence? Didn't they say that there were very few absolute stage powerhouses in the deserted world? How could Holy Master reach such a high realm the moment he came here? No, Holy Master had not even been here for half a year. How could he have improved so much? That was because his physical body was already so terrifying when he was in the God world. Sensing Yang Qin's thoughts, Murong Yu smiled faintly. "You guessed it right. My physical body had already reached such a level when I was in the God world." After getting Murong Yu's confirmation, Yang Qin was even more shocked than before. As a rank 10 quasi-saint, she knew how difficult it was to improve one's physical body realm in the God world. Even for her, before she entered the deserted world, her physical body was not at the level of a low-grade God weapon. And Murong Yu was only in the heavenly emperor realm, but he had already reached the absolute stage? How heaven-defying was that? Holy Master has always been a heaven-defying existence, a perverted guy. His achievements should still be within the acceptable range. Yang Qin suddenly had this thought. Sensing Yang Qin's fleeting thought, Murong Yu's face turned black immediately. There were two reasons why he could know what Yang Qin was thinking. One was because he had cultivated the swordsman formula, which allowed him to detect other people's thoughts. Most importantly, Yang Qin was being controlled by Murong Yu. If he wanted to, he could read any of Yang Qin's memories. However, everyone had their own privacy. If it was not necessary, Murong Yu would definitely not read other people's memories. Because he was almost controlled by someone back then, he knew how sullen and angry that feeling was. Yang Qin, what's going on? Why are you being attacked by these people? Yang Qin's face darkened. She muttered to herself as if she was organizing her words. Then, she spoke. As it turned out, after Yang Qin followed Murong Yu into the deserted world, she appeared in another place. Originally, she wanted to immediately look for Murong Yu. However, she suddenly realized that she had turned from a top expert in the god world to an ant in the deserted world. She was unable to accept such a huge change. However, as a rank 10 quasi-saint, her ability to accept things was very strong. She recovered within a few days. She knew that with her current abilities, she could not survive in the deserted world, let alone look for Murong Yu. Therefore, she temporarily entered a tribe. Similar to Murong Yu, Yang Qin also realized that there was a lack of combat skills and cultivation methods in the deserted world. Even the lowest level of combat skills and cultivation methods in the god world were rare treasures in the deserted world. Therefore, she used some ordinary combat skills to exchange for blood crystals. As soon as the blood crystal mine opened, she entered it. Initially, she was with the people in the tribe. However, not long after, they found a mine with a terrifying amount of blood crystals. Just when they thought they had struck gold, they were ambushed and surrounded. In the end, Yang Qin was the only one who escaped. How dare you? How dare you snatch my things? Murong Yu was furious. He thought that the things that Yang Qin found belonged to him. Holy Lord, there are hundreds of them. The weakest among them are the superior class experts that you just killed. I think we should just forget about it. Yang Qin thought for a while and advised. It was not that she was afraid of death. In fact, she did not want Murong Yu to be in danger. After all, staying alive was the most important thing. Lead the way. Murong Yu was filled with killing intent. Yang Qin was helpless. After failing to persuade him, she had no choice but to lead the way. Soon, they arrived at a fork in the road. This fork was different from the other forks. The entrance was very dilapidated, as if it had collapsed before. It was also because of this that many people didn't even look at this fork in the road when they passed by it. Naturally, no one realized that there was a rich amount of blood crystals in here. Immediately, Murong Yu and Yang Qin went into the fork in the road. In the beginning, the fork was extremely small. Could only allow 2 people to walk side by side. Compared to the mines outside that were a few miles tall and wide, this fork was just a wormhole. It was no wonder that so many people passed by but no one looked at it. After walking for several hundred miles, the fork in the road gradually widened. Yang Qin, how did you guys find this fork? If it was someone else other than Yang Qin, Murong Yu would not believe that there was a rich amount of blood crystals in the depths of this fork. If someone had told him that, he might have slapped that person. However, Yang Qin suddenly became shy and stuttered, unable to say anything. In reality, it was just a chance encounter by Yang Qin. Not sure if it was because of this world, but Yang Qin had a woman's physiological reaction after entering this place. In the beginning, she only wanted to come here to solve her problem. However, she was curious about this cave later on. Therefore, she ran all the way and finally found the terrifying amount of blood crystals. Physiological reaction? Morong Yu was a little dizzy. This was because even a cultivator could control his body at will. She no longer had any physiological reactions like the women of the mortal world. Maybe it's because the two worlds are different. Morong Yu thought to himself and continued moving forward. Not long after, a burst of noise came from the front. Soon, Morong Yu saw hundreds of people busily collecting the blood crystals around them. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.